Hello, Dynamites. Hello. Hello. Sorry for the delay. How's everybody doing today? How's everybody doing today? Hope you all are having an amazing day. Happy Halloween! Happy Halloween to my Dynamites. Happy Halloween to my Dynamites. How you guys doing? How you guys doing? Okay. Hello. I see you guys saying blue dino lady. I don't know how accurate that is. I don't know. Oh, it stuck to my head. I don't know how accurate blue dino lady is. It's not really accurate. Green alpaca man. Burnt Pop-Tart lady. Oh my goodness. You guys. Oh no. The fart night? Candy corn lady. Oh my goodness. I'll ask the Pop-Tart King what he thinks of your burning of tarts. He'll get over it. It'll be fine. What's the worst that could happen, right? What's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that could happen? Oh. Things just keep moving when I don't want them to. Alright, what's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that could happen? Candy corn's yucky. With E right now, the kid. Alright, yeah. My teeth are can be very sensitive when it comes to candy corn and stuff. So if I eat it, I have to kind of be sparing. Because otherwise, I'll just, like, blah. Blah. Sorry. I'm also still trying to finish putting things in the scene. Just give me a second. But I figured I'd at least talk to you guys and say hello. Oh, I did the wrong one. Actually, no, Big Pumpkin. Alright. I think I'm good. I think I'm good. Don't think I need to do anything else. I think I'm good. Oh boy. I like candy corn in small amounts. It's too sweet in large amounts, but good in small ones. Yeah. Halloween and collab last night. People prefer veggies over candy corn. Yeah, fair enough. How is the unknown color species lady doing? I am okay. Currently getting ready for our fancy reading of things. Give me 1 second. I will be ready in a moment. Okay, there we go. I need to pull out some of the CREEPYPASTA. Alright. I think we're good. Alright, chat. I hope you all are having a spooky Thursday evening or Friday morning, depending upon where you are in the world. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Skiddosaurus Rex, tonight known as Skitorex. And I am a 66-million-year-old dinosaur, and today we are going to be reading some CREEPYPASTA. Ooh, so exciting. Who is this red one? Ooh. This is why it took me so long, because I had to change the colors. Real talk, red Skiddo looks good though. You know, honestly, I was thinking that while I was doing this. I was like, man, I really like the red. I was like, man, this looks really good. So yeah, red Skiddo will steal your dino nuggie, so be careful. Yeah, I will steal all your dino nuggies. The Tricerapals have graciously given me some lovely creepypastas that we will get to read. Looking forward to it. It's gonna be great. I'm probably not going to put them on the screen just because I kind of want it to be a surprise as to what the story is going to be for those who haven't read it yet. So you'll get to look at my spooky background with my spooky ghosts and my red hair. I'm pretty excited. So yeah, it's just words, and I feel like I kind of want to keep it a surprise. So this will be a fun thing to do. I have some spooky lo-fi music on. Hopefully I don't get dinged for it. It's supposedly copyright free, but every time I trust YouTube, it never is. So we'll see what happens, but yeah. Alright. So I guess we'll start with this one, which is called Feed the Pig. Alright, we'll start with this one. Let me just get a drink of hot chocolate here first for a second. Feed the Pig. Nom 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 nom. Oh yeah, the dino nuggies are gonna go past me. I forgot to fix it. Y'all are missing. Hang on, I'll fix it. Okay, it should work now. Alright. Time to read. Are we drunk or aim sex? Yeah, it does. It's not very good. Alright. It's time. Wow, it looks like they're actually coming from chat. That's kind of crazy. Okay. Time to read. You guys ready? It's time. Alright. I slowly opened my eyes. My head was swimming and a dull pain surrounded my throat. I was thirsty. That was the first thing I noticed. I licked my dry lips as my surroundings faded into focus. My body ached, and I realized it was because I was tightly bound to a metal chair in the middle of an empty room. The barren concrete walls were stained and dirty. The floor beneath my bare feet was cold and slightly wet. A single bulb lit the room, dangling from the ceiling by a string. It cast moving shadows, and I blinked back darkness. An open door stood before me, and I couldn't see anything but a wall of a hallway. I tried to clear my head. I tried to remember how I got here. I squeezed my eyes shut and forced myself not to panic. I slowed my breathing and focused my thoughts, desperately trying to summon some recollection of why I was here. I couldn't remember anything. I opened my eyes and exhaled, my parched throat throbbing. I could hear sound echoing off the hallway walls outside the door, screaming, clanging, howling, all very distant, but that did nothing to help calm my nerves. "Hello?" I cried, the word tearing my vocal cords. I felt my chest hitch in pain, but I cleared my throat and yelled again. "Is anyone there? Hello?" The dark hallway remained silent except for the constant echoes. I shut my mouth and tried to wriggle free of my bindings, but the rope was knotted impossibly tight. I fought back against my imagination as it flooded my mind with horrific scenarios of what awaited me. If I could only remember. Suddenly, footsteps erupted from outside the door, a rapid patter of small feet. My hopes rose and I trained my attention to the door, praying it was help. A young boy ran into the room, dressed in a red onesie, complete with padded feet. Stretched over his face was a plastic devil mask. The eye holes revealed massive blue eyes that greeted me curiously. Taken back, I opened my mouth to speak, but that's when I noticed something was off. His eyes were huge, impossibly round and bulging from their sockets. It sent a shiver of unease down my spine, but I shook it off. This child might be able to free me. "Hey," I hissed urgently. "Hey, kid, could you get me out of here?" The boy took a step closer, cocking his head, but remaining silent. I rattled my bound arms against the chair. "Cut me free, please. I shouldn't be here. This is some kind of mistake." The boy eyed me behind his strange mask and stopped directly in front of me. He leaned in close and whispered, his voice like wet silk. "You did a bad thing." Confused and shook my head. No, this is a mistake. I didn't do anything." The boy's enormous blue eyes suddenly filled with sadness. "Oh, you did a really, really bad thing." I shook my head again violently. "No, I'm sorry. I just don't remember. Please get me out of this chair." Suddenly, before either of us could speak again, a man came charging into the room. He was overweight and dressed in overalls, his grizzled face twisted in seething anger. He was holding a sawed-off shotgun in his arms. "I didn't do anything!" I cried as he advanced on me, my voice cracking. I'm not supposed to be here!" The big man ignored me and instead grabbed the kid and shoved him hard against the wall. The boy grunted at his back stuck the concrete, and his eyes rose to meet the grizzled man's. Wordlessly, the man raised his shotgun, placed it against the boy's forehead, and blew his head off. Oh my God. Chunks of gore splattered the wall, and his rock slugged me in the stomach like an iron fist. My ears rang and time seemed to slow as I watched in horror as the headless boy crumpled to the ground. My breath rushed back into my lungs, and time just seemed to readjust. "Good God!" I screamed, straining against the ropes, my eyes bulging in horrific shock. "What the heck?" The man ignored my screams as he bent down and picked up the boy. He slung the ruined corpse over his shoulder and walked out of the doorway. Suddenly, the hallway erupted with malicious laughter, a chorus of voices all howling in glee. I shut my eyes, the noise deafening, as absolute terror filled my every pore. After a few moments, the laughter faded and I cautiously opened my eyes, unable to believe what I had just witnessed. "Hello." I jumped as I realized there was another man standing before me. He was dressed in that simple white button-down shirt and jeans. His brown hair was cut short and he appeared to be in his early 30s. His green eyes were dull and lifeless, and his full lips pulled down at the corners. Underused exclamation, Ginger, bravo. "What is going on? Where am I?" I cried, new fear pooling in my stomach like hot blood. The man crossed his arms. The man crossed his arms. "So you're the new one, huh?" He shook his head. "You people disgust me." Questions bubbled on my lips, but he waved them off with a sharp chop of his hand, slicing the air and demanding my silence. He ran his tongue over his teeth, sneering. "You look like you've already seen some of the horrors this place holds, huh? Yes, I could tell by the looks in your eyes. You're terrified. You've seen something, haven't you? Doesn't seem all that bad now, does it, looking back? You've been here 5 minutes and you're already crapping your pants." "Where am I?" I gasped, unable to hold back any longer. "What do you people want?" The man crossed his arms behind his back. I bet you want to get out of here, don't you? I bet you'd like to go back to your home, your family, everything. Please, I interrupted. Whatever you do, whatever I did to you, I'm sorry. I really am, but I don't remember. The man rolled his eyes. You didn't do anything to me. You did it to yourself. You don't really remember anything? I shook my head and felt tears brimming against my eyes, liquid fear. The man looked at me with contempt. You waited until your wife left for work and then you went out to the woodshed and hung yourself. You're dead. The recent memory rose in my mind like a monster from a bog. My eyes went wide. As much as I wanted to deny it, he was right. I had killed myself. The incident tore through my brain like a bullet train and left me reeling. I'm Danny, by the way, the man said, ignoring the shock look on my face. And I'm number 2 here. I run the orientation process. I want to make this quick because I'm tired of repeating this stupid thing to you, pathetic suicidals. You get one question before I begin. Oh my god, I can't even speak. Why am I doing this? He stared down at me, and I scrambled to organize my thoughts into something cohesive. This was all horrifying. Why had I killed myself? I fought against the fog and panic, and the mist of confusion slowly began to lift. I had just lost my job. Yes, that was the start. I squeezed my eyes shut and forced more of the memory to emerge. I had lost my job and I was about to lose the house. My wife, Tess. She found out and was going to leave me. I didn't have any way out. I didn't have any options. Getting fired had come out of the blue, and I didn't have much in savings. I was broke, soon to be homeless, and my wife hated me for it. There was something else. Yes, that's right. She had been cheating on me. I had seen texts on her phone while she slept one night and confirmed my suspicions. My life had degraded to crap, and I had run out of options. Humiliated and ashamed, I had decided death was my only option. Hey, you unfilled Oreo. Do you have a question or not? Danny said, snapping his fingers in front of my face. I was sucked back into reality, and I asked the only question that mattered. Am I with the devil? Danny snorted. That's always what you people ask. He began to pace back and forth in front of me. No, you are not with the devil. It's not heaven either. This is the Black Farm. And no, I didn't name it that. This is where God sends the souls who have ended their own life. Suicidals. You see, he doesn't really know what to do with you, and neither does the devil. They are genuinely good people who kill themselves. Seems cruel to banish them to Satan for all eternity for a moment of weakness, right? Personally, I think God and the devil were just tired of arguing about it, and so they send them to here, the Black Farm. Did God create this place? I asked, growing more and more confused. Danny spit on the floor, chuckling. Sure, at some point. But then he lost control of it when he put the pig in charge. What's the pig? I asked. Unsure if I wanted to know the answer. Danny held up a hand, annoyed. Can I just finish? God created this space eons ago to put the pig in charge, and then they forgot about it for a while. Well, when his back was turned, the pig decided to use his new powers and try to create his own world. This mess you see around you is the fractured remains of that experiment. The Black Farm used to be a lot nicer, but the pig wanted things to be different. He wanted to create his own vision. These people you see, these monsters, they are the pig's attempts at creating functioning life. Instead of mirroring God's earth, these mutated, horrible creations are full sin and hatred. They run rampant here, unabashed. This place is chaos. The Black Farm is a circus of freaks and monsters, and it's your eternity. Hey, Ginger, this is where all the freaks go. Big Pigowski. Sorry, I was taking a drink. The freaks! Fear boiled in my gut like thick oil. This could not be my end. I did not believe in stuff like this. This wasn't real. I could wake up soon and realize that I was just having a nightmare. That had to be it. Danny stood before me and lightly slapped my face. Hey, don't go into hysterics on me. I haven't finished yet. I raised my teary eyes to meet his. Danny smiled. You can always feed the pig. My breath pushed from my lungs like a burning steam. What does that mean? Danny spread his hands, still smiling. It's as simple as that. Feed the pig. If you do so, there's a chance he'll send you back to your life. And what happens if it doesn't? I bumbled. Then you get sent to the devil, so flip a coin if you have one. Stay here with us or feed the pig. If you choose to stay, I'll let you go. I'll let you go out there, he said, pointing towards the door. But let me assure you, what awaits you at the end of the hallway, well, let's just say being with Satan ain't that much worse. I swallowed hard, trying my best to digest everything. Why wouldn't I try feeding the pig, whatever that meant? If there was even a sliver of hope, I would take it. An eternity in this place, the Black Farm, or to be sent to Satan, or feed the pig? I would do anything for a chance to go back. This nightmare made my problem seem nothing in comparison. Danny raised his hand before I could speak. I'll let you think on it for a while. I'll be back later. I want to feed the pig, I cried, not wanting to spend another second in this awful room. I could hear a woman screaming down the hallway, her cries raising as something meaty pounded into her. What? My breath came in sharp pulls and my throat burned. Danny noticed the noise and grinned. Please, I gasped, breathless. Just let me feed the pig. I don't want to stay here any longer. Danny turned away from me. I'll be back later. Enjoy your time alone. Really think about your situation, weigh your options, and remember, you put yourself here. And with that, he was gone, leaving me in the dim room. Tears streamed down my face. The woman didn't stop screaming for hours. What the heck, bruh? She's getting meat in her for hours. Ew. At some point, I fell into a semi-sleep. The darkness in the room seemed to press in on me, and my eyes fluttered shut. My body ached, and my throat was a halo of fire. Thirst raked at my windpipe like sharp glass. My lips felt like crumpled paper. My head thundered like a drum. The room swam in and out of focus, and my mind drifted towards the horrific sounds that never ended. Here we go. I was lost in a haze, unaware that something was sliding into the room until I felt a sharp prick on my big toe. I jolted out of my daze as my bare foot ignited with pain. I screamed and tried to move, but my bindings held me tight. The room rushed back into focus and I blinked in agony as I felt blood trickle between my toes. I looked down for the source of the pain and I felt a scream claw up my throat. Oh, a scream crawl. I think it's supposed to be crawl up my throat. Staring up at me was an armless man. He slithered on the floor like a worm, his bald head scabbed and filthy. His legs were wrapped together in barbed wire, forcing him to wriggle his body to move. His eyes were lidless and wide, two bloodshot white orbs that stared up at me with hungry intensity. This is nasty. His teeth had been removed and replaced with two long screws, which jutted from his bleeding gums like a broken rock formation. Around his neck was a chain leash, which I followed across the floor to open the door. At the end of the leash was held by a tall, naked man. His body was hairless and flabby, covered in similar scabs like his pet. A dirty bag was pulled over his head that hid his features except for a single red eye that peeked out at me from a crude cut in the cloth. He stared at me and groped his... Oh my God! Why are you making me read this? Who picked this? He stared at me and groped himself, his breath heavy and labored as the armless man wriggled toward me again. His mask... I can't. He started to do things, okay? I screamed as the screw-filled mouth bit at me again, and my cries seemed to stimulate the naked man even more. Ah! Get off me! Stop it! I screamed, horrified. I tried to kick the man, doing my best to avoid his sharp metal teeth. I brought my heel down on his head, and he screamed as his face bounced off the floor. A moan of pleasure escaped the bag man's mouth, and I turned away as a mist of black sprayed out onto the floor. Ew. There was a rattle of change, and I turned back to see the two of them leaving. The armless man dragged by his neck out the door. I looked where the bag man had released himself and saw a puddle of dead ants. I vomited onto myself. Think chunky curtains of bile and slime. Ew. Get me out of here! I screamed, strands of puke running down my chin. I don't belong here! I listened to the two men retreat down the hallway, the clank of chains accompanied by the sound of flesh being dragged across the concrete. I screamed again, but I knew no one was coming to help me. I spit a wad of phlegm and bile onto the floor, ridding my mouth of its sourness. I forced myself to calm down. It wasn't easy. After some time, I heard someone else approaching. I had been in a miserable lull, my mind a blank canvas of dark despair, but the noise roused me from my trance-like state. The muscles in my arms burned from being restrained for so long, and I shifted them desperately, trying my best to prepare myself for whatever horror was about to walk through the door. I hate Taro! Hey, Taro! Footsteps drew closer, and then a woman walked into the room. She stopped at the doorway and looked at me. One of her eyes was missing, a dark, cavernous hole in her skull. Her hair was ratty and wild, a brown tangle like a forgotten nest. Her skin was pale and filthy, and she was dressed in rags. I couldn't tell how old she was, but there was maturity in her one good eye. Still thinking? She asked. Her voice was coarse and brittle. What? She took a step closer. Are you still deciding whether you're going to feed the pig or not? I looked at her cautiously. Yeah, I am. Who are you? What do you want? I was once where you are now, she said, trying to decide my fate. I couldn't believe this was what happened. What happens after we die? It wasn't what I was taught. Religion didn't warn me about this place. I tested my bindings again before asking. You killed yourself too? You're a person like me? You're not one of those creations? She snorted. Breaks my heart you have to ask, though. She touched the hole where her eye should have been. Though I can understand your caution. Yeah, I'm a suicidal. I've been here a long, long time. But that was my choice. I decided to chance it here. I motioned with my head towards the door. What's out there? What is all this? She exhaled heavily and leaned against the wall. I can't even begin to describe this place. It's like nothing you've ever seen. You walk down a hallway and go out into it. And she swallowed. You'd have to see it to understand. How bad is it? Why are all these mutated people hunting and killing each other? I asked. She let her head lol? I don't know if that's even a word. She let her head loll back against the wall. It would take years for you to fully understand this place. Years you don't have. Right now, you have to make a decision. Stay or feed the pig. They tell me Satan is worse than here, but it can't be by much. Monsters and suicidals roam the Black Farm. Killing, raping, brutalizing. Then you have to wake up and wonder how long you can survive before something else kills you. It's an endless cycle. So why did you stay? I pressed. Why didn't you feed the pig? I don't even know what that means, but I would like to do anything for a chance to go back. I can't stay here. I just can't. She smiled sadly at me. Why? Why did I choose this? It's simple, really. I'm a coward. I was a coward when I was alive, and I'm a coward in death. When it came down to it, when the moment presented itself, I chose to stay here. I didn't know what awaited me outside. It boiled down to a simple choice fueled by my own fear. What is the pig? What does it do to you? I pressed. She suddenly turned to go. I'm afraid that's for you to find out. But let me warn you, think hard before you make a decision. Sometimes suffering through your fear is better than suffering for eternity. Be brave. What do I do? I yelled, shaking my chair as she walked out the door. She paused and She took one last look over her shoulder. Her eyes darted around and she dropped her voice to a whisper. Feed the pig. And with that, she was gone. I sat in silence once again. My mind was spinning, desperately turning over my options. I still couldn't fully understand the situation I was in. It was too much, too overwhelming. The other side of death wasn't supposed to be like this. I didn't know what I had expected, but it wasn't this nightmare. Questions crashed over my mind like cold waves into a sinking ship. How was I supposed to make a choice when I didn't even know what my actions entailed? This place, the Black Farm. I couldn't stay here. But what if I went to see Satan? What if I didn't get sent back? I would be out of fire and into the frying pan. My existence would forever be an unending mystery. Here, there were people like me, suicidals. It wasn't all monsters and mutilated murderers. Maybe I could hole up somewhere with them, try to scrape together a passable existence. Surely that would be better than getting sent next to Satan. No, this wasn't going to be how I spent my eternity. I refused to let it be. If there was even a slight sliver of hope, I would take it. I didn't want to wonder what could have been. I didn't want to be tormented by doubt. I would feed the pig and accept whatever fate chose for me. When I boiled it down, that was the only option left. I would feed the pig. Hey! Hello? Danny? I yelled, rattling in my chair. I've made my decision! Danny! After a couple seconds, I heard footsteps echo down the hall towards me. Danny walked through the doorway, an annoyed look on his face. I've made my choice, I said. I'm going to feed the pig. Sounds like you've really thought a lot about it since I left you, Danny said sarcastically. I licked my lips. You'd do the same if you were in my place. Danny walked behind me. I was in your place once, and I chose differently. My eyes widened, and then Danny wrapped my entire head with a strip of cloth, blinding me. I sucked in as much air as I could, but each lungful felt empty. I felt Danny cut me free from the chair, and my body sighed as my stiff muscles were released. I rolled my shoulders as my hands were released, and I moaned with relief. I dug my fingers into my back, and I stretched, my bones creaking. Keep your blindfold on and follow me, Danny said, pulling me up. My legs shook as I put weight on them, my thighs trembling after their long cemented position. I groped blindly in front of me and found Danny's shoulder. I rested my hand on it as he walked us out of the room. As we entered the hallway, I could suddenly hear a sound I hadn't before. The clank of metal, a long, fleshy tearing noise, something vomiting. These sounds sprang to life in my ears, painting the darkness before my eyes with imaginary scenes of horror. I gripped Danny's shoulder tighter, stumbling behind him, my heart thundering. I heard something trailing behind us, but Danny didn't seem to notice, or if he did, he didn't care. Flesh slapped the concrete mere inches behind me, and I suddenly felt hot breath on my neck and the click of a wet tongue against gums. My breathing became even more labored as fear choked me. Going to feed the piggy, are ya? Something whispered in my ear. Oh, that was a whisper. My bad. I felt something press against the back of my head, and I tried not to think about what it might be. It was wet and slimy, and I heard the thing chuckle. He's a hungry piggy. You make sure he gets his meal now. The thing whispered again, its voice low and unlike anything I've ever heard before. It was like a series of grunts and moans jumbled together to form broken words. To my relief, I heard the thing retreat back to wherever it had come from, and I continued to follow Danny. He remained silent as we walked, and I could feel shifts in the air. The thick heat gave way to a cooler, almost pleasant temperature, but then it kept decreasing, and soon I was shivering violently against the cold. I couldn't see anything, but I felt a breeze on my face, like we were outside. Is that in the story, or did she just ad-lib that? What, him saying that? It's actually in the story. I didn't hear Danny open any doors, but nothing about this place was natural. It was like reality blurred and bled into itself, like reels of film melting together. Hi, Pumpkin! Welcome to the stream, Sheriff Pumpkin! Teeth chattering. I was suddenly blasted with intense heat, and I gasped. My feet tripped over themselves as the terrain changed, and I was suddenly walking on what felt like warm iron. My ears were filled with the sound of blazing furnaces and the clash of working machinery. I couldn't see it, but I felt like there was a vast open expanse overhead. I smelled ash and tasted dirt on my tongue, sweat already forming along my spine. Suddenly, I crashed into Danny as he came to a halt. I backed up a few paces quickly and muttered my apologies. I could hear movement in front of us, a rustle of chains, and an odd clicking sound on the metal floor. Something else, too. Something snorting. And then the room filled with a deafening sound of an immense pig squealing. I covered my ears, head splitting at the high-pitched wail. I grit my teeth as the noise echoed off the metal and faded into a series of snorts and grunts. It sounded absolutely enormous. "I've brought another one," Danny announced, a slight tinge of respect aligning his voice. "He wants to feed the pig." I waited, expecting to hear some answer, the cloth around my eyes sealing my sight to darkness. I realized my knees were shaking and my back was coated in sweat. I was terrified. "If that is what you wish," Danny said, and I felt him bow under my hand. Apparently some unseen conversion had just happened, and Danny took my wrist and pushed me forward. "Approach the pig," he instructed. My whole body trembled with my knees not locked into place. Robbed from sight, I raised my hands, trying to get my bearings, the heat and ash filling my head with nausea. I felt like I was going to throw up, my stomach rolling like the Dead Sea. I didn't know where I was or what horror lay before me. I felt lost and tiny, a fresh splat of tears dripping from my eyes and soaking into the cloth around my face. "Please," I begged, "let me see what's happening." Danny was suddenly behind me, pushing me forward. He guided my hands towards something as we stepped together in unison. Even with the cloth around my face, I could see a giant mass of towering darkness before me. It was a spot of black on an already darkened canvas. As we walked forward, I was suddenly assaulted by a horrendous smell and I gagged, turning away. Danny's grip tightened and forced me to continue. I could sense something just in front of me, a living, shifting mass of flesh. The smell increased to a wretched level and I gagged again. Then hot air was being blown on my face, a blast of heat that came in repeated short bursts. I vomited into my cloth, the source of the smell stemming from the hot air. I choked as the bile gushed all over the fabric, soaking it and momentarily cutting off my oxygen. Danny slapped my hands away, and I took a few seconds to steady my breathing again. I was open crying now, fear and misery collapsing my willpower. The wet cloth stunk as I sucked in soggy breaths. My own stomach acid coated my skin, and I begged for all of this to be over. And then something squealed directly in front of me. I felt my bladder go. He peed himself. I was standing before the pig. It was a source of darkness in my obscured vision, a fat, titanic creature that filled my senses with every breath it blew into my face. Danny raised my hands, and suddenly I was touching the pig's snout. I recoiled immediately, but Danny forced my hands back. Its fur was stiff and brittle as my shaking hands explored up its nose. The size of the animal became clear to me. It was gigantic and had a weight over a ton. Its flesh wiggled under my sweating hands, and it opened its mouth slightly. My fingers curled around the teeth size of kitchen knives and realized that its mouth was absolutely carnivorous. The pig squealed again, and I heard its hooves clack against the ground. It sounded like thunder rolling across an open field in the middle of summer. "Take this blindfold off, please," I begged, my legs turning into jelly. Danny had taken a few steps back, and I heard reverence in his voice. "You don't want to do that." I jumped as the pig nudged me with his nose, the wet circle of flesh squishing against the length of my face. I shuddered away, raising my hands and emitting a cry of fear. "Feed the pig," Danny instructed, his voice like cold steel now. "You have made your choice. Now live with it. The only chance you have of going back, or maybe the pig won't like how you taste and send you down to Satan. Only one way to find out." My eyes widened behind the vomit-soaked cloth. "Won't like how I taste?" "Climb into its mouth." My bladder let go again, and I felt warm pee run down my leg. No, you can't mean..." Danny's voice hardened. "Climb into his mouth and don't stop crawling forward until it's done with you." "Please," I begged, turning forward to Danny's voice, reaching out blindly. "Please, there has to be some other way. Don't make me do this." I was a mess of snot and tears, my words bumbling from my mouth like a toddler. Danny stepped forward and spun me back to face the pig. Do it! You made your choice. It will all be over soon. This is your only chance. I could feel the pig breathing onto my face, its snout mere inches from mine. The smell and heat it emitted made me want to vomit again, but I held it back. This was insane. This wasn't happening. My mind spun and twisted in chaos and fear. There had to be some other way. I couldn't do this. I could not do this. Suddenly, I remembered the words of the woman. Sometimes suffering through your fear is better than suffering for eternity. Be brave. This is my only chance to get back to the world of living. I had made such a terrible mistake in killing myself. If I could go back to change my life, I wouldn't have to spend eternity here. I could go back. I could go change my ways and share a spot somewhere else. Somewhere away from the pig. But what if it decided to send me to Satan? How much more suffering could I endure? I had to take the chance. Okay. I'm gonna take a drink of water. Hang on. I had to take the chance. Please, God, I whispered, taking a step forward. If you can hear me, please have mercy on me. My shaking hands reached out for the pig and I grasped its thick fur. I felt it slowly lower its head and open its mouth. It was waiting for me, its thick, hot breath stinking in my nostrils. This was it. There's no turning back now. I slowly gripped its teeth and pulled forward into its jaws. Its head was at a downward angle, so I immediately fell into the stomach at a 45-degree angle. Its wet tongue squished under me, and I was shaking so hard I could barely breathe. Tears soaked my blindfold, and my heart crunched against my ribs. I slowly reached forward and found another tooth to grab onto. Gritting my teeth, I pulled my body inward past my knees. The pig raised its head, and I was suddenly completely horizontal on its tongue. Saliva and mucus dripped around me, and the heat was so intense I almost blacked out. My knees clacked against its front teeth as I pulled myself even deeper. Its inner cheeks pressed in around me, squeezing my body like a soaking, fleshy coffin. Crying, terrified, I reached ahead of me and found more teeth. I pulled myself deeper into its mouth, and I found my feet slide past its lips. My whole body was coated in slime, and I openly wept, grasping in the darkness for another tooth. And that's when the pig started to chew on me. I screamed in crushing agony as my body was compressed between its massive teeth. I heard my legs snap instantly and felt wet bone pop from my skin. I shook violently as my body spasmed in shock, a mangled twist of blood and pain. Its tongue shifted me in its mouth, and I felt it bite down on my shoulder. My eyes bulged in their sockets as I howled, a hot pillar crunching down on my collarbone. I threw up violently, unable to control myself, the pain overwhelming. Kept crawling. Screaming, bloodshot eyes rolling wildly, I reached forward with my good arm, wetly searching for another tooth. I gripped my teeth, blood squirting in between them, as my fingers wrapped around something solid. The pig bit down again, its tongue twisting my body so its molars could snap down on my knees. The pain brought darkness, but my howling screams forced my eyes to remain open. "Make it stop!" I bellowed, my trembling hand gripping the tooth against me. Gripping the tooth ahead of me. "Please just make it stop!" I ground my teeth together so hard they cracked, screaming as I pulley slowed my body deeper into its mouth. Something was changing. The tight walls of its throat squeezed my head, and I realized I was almost through. "Come on, you! Come on!" I begged, vocal cords cracking. I reached ahead of me and grabbed onto a thick wad of flesh. My head felt like it was spitting, and the pig bit down on me again. I gasped, blood exploding from my mouth in a great gush of red.
Spooky story nuggies.
Thank you for the nuggies. Thunder God. Thank you for the super chat. Toot toot. It had pierced through my stomach, obliterating my inside like bloated noodles. Darkness rushed in on me, and I was in too much shock to even scream. With the last of my strength, right as the blackness took me, I pulled myself forward one last time and felt myself slide down its throat. Darkness. Falling. Screaming. I was screaming. Heat. Heat so intense that I thought I would melt. Clanging. Something was hammering on a metal. Colors and images flew past me so quickly I could only make out their shape. Blood poured into my eyes. I felt like I would keep falling forever. Suddenly, my eyes snapped open and I was falling. My breath rushing back into my lungs in a great wave of purity. My face bounced off wood floor and I cried out as I felt my nose break. I tasted blood and saw stars. I had stopped falling. There was a ring of burning fire around my throat and I felt impossibly thirsty. I was lying on the floor. I slowly opened my eyes again and the darkness began to fade like morning mist under a hot sun. Colors blended together and the shapes came into focus. I was in my woodshed. I reached up around my throat and gasped at the source of heat. It was the rope I had hung myself with, but now it was severed, releasing me from the grip of death. Relief rolled over me in overwhelming waves of thanks. I curled up on the floor and sobbed, tears dripping from my eyes onto the dirty floor. My body shook, unbroken, as I wept, the wet, hoarse cries rising from my quivering lips. I had been spared. I was alive again. From my spot on the floor, I turned my eyes upward, my voice cracking. Thank you, God. Thank you. I fell into another fit of uncontrollable sobbing. I promise I won't waste my life again. I promise I'll make things right. I'll fix everything. I don't know how long it was before I got up. Time seemed to stretch for eternity. My mind refused to rebuild, the horrors of what I had just witnessed crushing me. But I knew I would do everything I could to make the most out of my life. I was going to live every day to the fullest. I would devote myself to helping others in dark times. I would reach out to as many suicidals as I could to try and save them from awaiting. This doesn't even make sense. I would try to reach out to as many suicidals as I could and try to save them from what awaited on the other side. I didn't want anyone else to have witnessed the horrors of suicide. I didn't want anyone else to have to feed the pig. So that is the end of Feed the Pig. Thoughts? What'd you guys think of Feed the Pig? It was kind of graphic. Don't unalive yourself. Yeah?
Robert, this pig, I don't like it. It gives me the heebie-jeebies and filled a 1997 Toyota Corolla with 3% milk. Happy Halloween, Red Dino Lady.
Thank you, Marcus. Most of the creepypastas I read and listen to are too long for you, so I chose one from the Creepcast that was both gory and creepy, but PG. I think a lot of creepypastas are graphic. True. Yeah, this one was something. I was not expecting the, thanks for the bedtime story, it wasn't that creepy. Yeah. This one was, yeah, I wasn't expecting him to full on, like, do that. I don't know. It was just kind of, yeah. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It was very graphic, though. But it's okay. Hey, why are you red? Hey, why do you care? Did you poo yourself? No. Why would that entail me pooing myself, Agra? Come on, get with the program, man. You Goon Lake loving bay rat. Okay. Let's see. Next one. What do you mean frog? Hello? Why are you calling me a frog, Agra? Agra, a little bit of a back thing. Like, Agra and I went back and forth the other day. we had a back and forth argument the other day. Nuke said you ain't scary and to try harder. Listen, I'm not trying to be scary. Shut up. Mario! Ah! Happy Halloween, Webby! Hello! Nuke, shut up! Hi, Zerb! Alright, I guess we should read the next one. Agra said frog and the actual frog appeared. Yeah, my froggy daughter, or whatever we are now. Oh man, I can't read to save my life. Alright. Alright, let's read the next one. I'm not gonna go in any particular order. I'm just gonna kind of jump around and see kind of where I land. Fairly short and quicker reads. Okay. Alright. This one's shorter. So this one's called Herobrine. You look cute with this red hair. Thanks. Herobrine. I had recently spawned in a new world in a single-player Minecraft. Everything was normal at first, and I began chopping down trees and crafting a workbench. I had noticed something move amongst the dense fog. Gulp. I had had a very slow computer, so I have to play with the tiny render distance. I thought it was a cow, so I pursued it, hoping to grab some hides for armor. It wasn't a cow, though. Looking back at me was another character with a default skin, but his eyes were empty. I saw no name pop up, and I double-checked to make sure I wasn't in multiplayer mode. He didn't stay long. He just looked at me and quickly ran into the fog. I pursued out of curiosity, but he was gone. I continued on with the game, not sure what to think. As I expanded the world, I saw things that seemed out of place for the random map generator to make. 2x2 tunnels in the rocks, small, perfect pyramids made of sand in the ocean, and grooves of trees with all their leaves cut off. I would constantly think I saw the other quote-unquote player in the deep fog, but I never got I never got a better look at him. I tried increasing my render distance whenever I thought I saw him, but to no avail. I saved the map and went onto the forums to see if anyone else had found this pseudo-player. There were none. I created my own topic, telling of the man and asking if anyone had a similar experience. The post was deleted within 5 minutes. I tried again, and the topic was deleted even faster. I received a PM from a username, Herobrine, containing one word: stop. When I went to look at Herobrine's profile, the page 404'd. I received an email from another forum user. He claimed that the mods could read the forum's user messages, so we were safer using email. The emailer claimed that he had seen the mystery player too, and he had a small directory of other users who had seen him as well. Their worlds were also littered with obviously man-made features, and they described the mystery player as having no pupils. About a month passed until I heard from my informant again. Some of the people who had encountered the mystery man had looked into the name Herobrine and found it to be frequently used by a Swedish gamer. After some further information gathering, it was revealed to be the brother of Notch, the game's developer. I personally emailed Notch and asked him if he had a brother. It took him a while, but he emailed me back a very short message. I did, but he is no longer with us. Notch. I hadn't seen the Mystery Man since our first encounter, and I haven't noticed any changes to the world other than my own. I was able to press print screen when I first saw him. And then there's a picture that shows the guy in the video. I mean in the picture. It doesn't even look like he's in the picture. Oh yeah, he's over in the corner. Never mind, I see him. Yeah. So that was Herobrine. That one's not as scary though. It's just spooky thing. I remember Herobrine from my youth. Good times. Remember sometimes you do hand cam videos, right? How about you do a pumpkin carving video? I was going to, I just ran out of time. So this is my Halloween stream. I won't be able to stream tomorrow because I'm traveling. Skiddo judging us. Like, bro, this is terrifying as a 12-year-old. Man, you know, listen. Now you know about Herobrine, old school classic creepypasta. I actually do remember this. I remember this creepypasta. Very, very classic. This picture is terrifying. I don't know if I want to read this one. What's this one? This one would be kind of hard to read. I guess I'll just have to do different voices. Which one? Teddy? But the teddy bear? A scary teddy bear? The picture's freaking me out. Yeah, it's the bear. Yeah, the fact that you knew that. It's uncanny. I don't like it. I don't like the picture at all. I don't know that one. I'm not sure how to read this one. Annie96 is typing. I guess the only way I can do this is with two voices. There's Annie and there's McDavie. So I'll have Annie be like a higher pitched girly voice, and then McDavie will be a little deeper. What's the picture? It's in the Tricerapals chat, Feared. If you go into the Tricerapals thread, and you look at the creepypasta things, the Teddy one has the picture. It's scary. Okay. Let's see how this goes. Alright, so Annie is the higher voice and McDavie is the lower voice. You asleep? No, guess you're not either. I can't. It's the wind. Sounds like cats fighting. What's your excuse? Studying. So that's what they call porn now? Annie, what the heck? Not denying it. Not denying it? I still can't believe what Johnny did today. Me neither. That boy has issues. What the heck? The wind sounds so loud. That just doesn't seem normal, lol. No wind over here. Just rain. Lucky you. I need my beauty sleep. Heck yeah, you do. What? You mean I look... Crap, I think I heard footsteps on the gravel outside. Get your crazy dad to check it out. I'm home alone. The fam are on holiday, remember? I told you this. Really? Till when? We should hang out. They really sound like footsteps, but there's something odd about them. I should look out the window, but my bed is so warm. Sure you want to look out the window when you're alone? What if there really is someone in your garden looking up at you? Not funny, David! Wow, chill. I'm sure it's nothing. Gonna check a BRB. If there's someone strange in your neighborhood, who are you gonna call? David, there's someone in the garden. What, really? Yes, I can see a man's back. What's he doing? He's looking for something? On his hands and knees in the bushes. Ha ha ha, he must be high. Probably looking for his drugs. David, this is serious. What should I do? Nothing? he'll probably go away by himself. Oh my god, now he's digging with his bare hands. He's ruining the garden. Crap, he's turning around. What does he look like? David, what the heck? This isn't funny. What? How are you doing that? What are you even talking about? I can see you in my garden. How are you writing here without touching your phone? Look up, I'm by the window. Can't you see me banging on it? Crap, Annie, now you're scaring me too. I'm definitely not in your garden. That's not me. Stop playing around. I can see your face. You're wearing that stupid football jacket you're so proud of. It must be someone who looks like me. Honestly, Annie, I'm at home. I wouldn't play around like that. It has to be a friend of yours, David. It's playing a sick prank. How else could he be wearing your jacket? There are loads of jackets like that. My friends don't look anything like me. You just have me on your mind. He's digging again. Just leave already. Annie, do you have a gun in your house? Don't be stupid, David. I couldn't shoot anyone. You don't have to use it. Just show that you're carrying. Doesn't that jacket have your name on the back? Yeah, team all got one with their name on it. I can see your name. What? What the heck is this, David? Annie, that jacket's in my closet. He's seen me. Why is he smiling like that? He's coming. Call the cops. Annie? Annie, pick up. I've called the cops, told them there's a break-in attempt at your place. They said they're on their way, but it'll take about a half an hour. Annie, are you there? It's in the house. I can't talk. I have to be quiet. Lights off. I'm in a closet with a knife. Hard to shake. It's hard to type. Shaking too much. Crap, hang in there, Annie. The police will be in there in 20 minutes. Do you know where he is? It, not he. The look it had when it saw me, David. No person can look like that. Crap, does it know where you are? No, I grabbed the knife when I saw it running toward the house, and I got in the closet when I heard it breaking in. Okay, good. You'll be fine. A druggie doesn't have the brains to find someone hiding in the closet. Police will get there soon. Oh God, it's calling out to me. It doesn't sound like you, David. Its voice is so deep, filling the house, filling the head, filling my head. What is it saying? Come out, Annie. I just want to look at you. It keeps repeating that over and over. Have I gone mad, David? Is this what this feels like? Just 10 more minutes, Annie. Keep it together. You are strong and we'll get through this. It's coming up the stairs, but so slowly. Irregular steps. Why does it look like you, David? Why you? I don't know, Annie. Please believe me. Can you make it stop? Please make it stop. I would if I could, I promise you. It's at the end of the hall. David, I didn't say anything to my parents when I left. I was listening to music. Is this the last time I see them? Annie. If this has something to do with you, David, only you can make it stop. Think fast. I don't know, Annie. God, please. Please. It might be because I think about you so much. I think about you all the time. So stop. I don't know how. It's scraping something on the walls, getting closer. Please, David. I'm trying. I'm trying so hard. It's slowing down. Try harder. Whatever you're doing, it's working. It stopped. I can't hear anything. Really? Don't go out yet. Stay put until the police get there. What should I tell them if he's gone? Everything, Annie. Everything you told me. I didn't know how you felt. I didn't know you felt about me that way, David. I'm so glad it stopped. Can you come over in the morning, David? I really need to see you. Of course, Annie. I'll be here. Great. Can't wait. Annie? Annie, how do I know this is you? Annie 96 went offline. She's been struck by a smooth criminal. She dead. Annie died. Bye-bye, Annie. Gulp emoji. Bye-bye, Annie. Annie died. Rip. Rest in pieces. Alright, I'm gonna take a drink of water. I like how the tension went out the window with smooth criminal. You've been stuck by a smooth criminal. I'd be so cooked in that situation. If I saw my homeboy digging a hole, I'd probably immediately go join no matter what. Right? He's digging up the garden. Not my plants. Not my tomato plants. Not my basil. Leave my plants alone, you bully. My magnolias. Not the tulips. My cabbages. What was the one you wanted me to read? Oh. Zorax? Is that how I say it? Oh, this is long. Alright. Well, it's not as bad as the other one, I don't think. Alright. This one is called Zorax. I think I'm saying it right. It's with an X. Zorax. My parents were the first to fall violently ill from the sickness we now know as Zorax. I could vividly recall my father lying on his bed while his muscles spasmed and he choked on his own vomit. Ew. I stood at his side, frozen in place and refusing to leave as I held back sobs, his pupils dilating until his entire eye became an inky blackness. He tried to speak, turning his head towards me, but opening his mouth only brought forth another torment of vomit. I remember saying something, but that detail was lost on me now. I remember staring into his glazed eyes as his shuddering became less pronounced and he was suddenly very still. I let out a wail and ran into my room, unprepared and unwilling to face the truth. My mother was the first to pass, then my older brother who had just turned 17, and finally my father. I had not considered that I would have caught the disease myself, if it were in fact contagious. I just thought myself lucky, though tragically lucky at that. I fell asleep in the corner, huddled in a blanket that had previously kept my mother warm. Her perfume made the putrid aroma somewhat tolerable, perhaps just enough so that I could drift off. I remember a persistent banging next, a series of muffled inquiries from the opposite side of my locked door. They were shouting for survivors, looking fervently for anyone who was still alive, despite the breakout. I rushed to the door and unlocked it to face what I would come to identify as the day crew. Their faces were obscured by large gas masks fitted with some sort of capsule on either side of their cheeks. Their breathing was slow and monitored. Their voices were nearly impossible to hear over the mechanical wheezing. They were covered from head to toe in black regulation hazmat material with orange text reading Day Crew on their backs. They ordered me out into the main hall where I managed to catch sight of 14 other children around my age being told directions and filed into a lineup. Once the entire group had been examined, we began our trek out into the streets, which was a vision of chaos and destruction. We had heard the noises of looting and desperation from our homes, but we hadn't ventured off into the outside world for weeks, for fear of catching the sickness ourselves. There were even more day crew that were burning the bodies that had fallen into the streets, trying to purge the earth as they kept their distance from the resulting fumes. We were silently ushered into the back of a large truck that took us to the south, away from the cities and suburbs, into a dense growth of the forest. When the van came to a screeching halt, the doors swung open to reveal more day crew, who ushered us out into a forest clearing. We were interrogated about our exposure to anyone with Zorax, and if we felt any symptoms like nausea or vertigo, though we had witnessed all our family members falling ill and had tried in vain to treat them, we were all perfectly fine in any physical sense. The day crew initially told us that they were perplexed about our immunity to the sickness, as anyone who came in contact with it was sure to fall ill just hours later. So it was a shock to see that some of us had been living this nightmare for weeks on end. As they administered more tests and more questions, however, we were told that the immunity was tied with the hormone cell that the disease was using to compromise the immune system, and since we were all too young to have properly developed it, the disease was unable to make us fall ill. We were told that the day crew wanted to study us, that we would live under cover of the forest in quarantine. They would hope to extract a cure from our group that would be used to heal the world and rid of it of the Zorax disease. They tried their best to sound positive in light of the situation, but it was obvious even then they were doubtful of their efforts, and that there was no guarantee for any of the tests to follow through. Still, they kept the mood optimistic and promised us that we would save countless lives with our efforts. They built a secluded village in the woods, providing us each with a makeshift house carved into the tree trunks around the area. It was led into a simple tree house that had a single bed on the far end and a table in the middle. We were told first thing that the next morning that we were going to have our blood taken, so we weren't allowed to eat anything until then. I was fine with that. I hadn't been hungry for days. The image of my mother, father, and brother crowded my thoughts instead. I didn't get much sleep. The forest was chirping with crickets, and the muffled bickering of the night crew kept me up in the early hours. We were woken the next day and filed into a single line to have our blood drawn. While the needles were prepared for us, we were told that we would have to receive a vaccination that would prevent us from going through puberty to preserve the hormone that might lead to a cure. It was never elaborated on that time that we would never be able to grow up or have children, but it was unlikely to live beyond the first few hours of infection, never mind the next few years, so our adulthood has been seen as necessarily sacrifice. This continued for a few weeks. We would continue to receive vaccinations and assured that a cure would soon arise, but times were getting desperate. It took to listening in on the muffled conversations of the night crew during the night. It became easier to make out what they were saying over time as they sat beneath my bedroom window next to a crackling fire. I discovered that our encampment was only one of many in the surrounding area, and that they deducted that Zorax originally came from the sea to the west. They passed around horror stories of the people that lived by the shore that were hit the worst, but they had gone completely pale and that they began to sprout growths off their elbows, hips, and their toes. They had to be kept constantly hydrated or else their skin would begin to flake and peel. Their pupils had dilated and their entire eye was colored black. At this bit, I brought back to my father, sitting on the couch and writhing in pain. There was food in the mountains, one assured another. They were gathering it in droves, perhaps to keep it from spoiling. Another spoke up, revealing that they had managed to find expecting women who weren't exposed to Zorax, and that they were being kept in the mountains to birth their young away from the sickness. The topic came back to their present situation, and they began to discuss our encampment, that our results, while promising, weren't being worked on fast enough. There were accusations claimed and fingers pointed, but at last they settled on keeping their mood positive, that something would come along eventually, that we just needed some more time. Discussion drifted back to the horror stories of the West Coast, which clearly sparked sick interest in the group as they talked of the corpses that had been found along the waters and drifted ashore, each with deep black eyes. I rolled over in my bed, unable to listen to any more of the stories without images of my own family. Staring up towards the ceiling, praying that we would manage to find a cure soon, and that I wouldn't have to hear about the people of the West anymore. It had been nearly a month of testing when something went wrong. A few short hours after our latest vaccination, several kids began complaining of distorted vision. They could see trailing lights in the air, masking their way across the plains. While their faces were covered in masks, I could sense the worry that played out across their faces. I lost my spot. Hang on. Oh, there we go. We were told that they were just visual hallucinations, and that they would subside in a few hours. When I awoke the next day and glimpsed outside, I too could see the trailing lights drifting through the air. They forbid anyone to discuss the lights any further, though it was clear that everyone could see them. As we lined up to have our blood drawn, one of the day crew became terribly ill and began to vomit through his gas mask. In a frenzied panic, we were ordered back into our homes as they led the sick member away into the woods. We were told to come out and organize ourselves into a line for a decontamination. After covering everyone with a chalk-like substance, they began to scrub it away with some foul-smelling liquid until they were assured that we were safe to deal with once more. This excessive procedure became part of our daily regimen. It's how we started calling them the Scrubs, rather than their official titles. We were disillusioned, and it was obvious that they were as well. The visual hallucinations began to worsen, even though we had stopped taking vaccinations long ago. Some kids began to befriend imaginary creatures in the air, speaking to the trails of light. I was horrified that I might start losing my sanity as well. I didn't want to eavesdrop into the discussion over the fire that night, which had gradually worsened with each passing week. With a trailing desperation in their voice, the night crew began to exchange information about the other areas. The food in the mountain had been contaminated, and rumors began to surface that all of the births had resulted in defects, with each child being well over a healthy birth weight and their eyes far apart. They would likely succumb to the disease and perish as well, it was decided. The cure had been tested on the Zorax, ridden patients that hadn't shown any signs of preventing the sickness, but rather had simply slowed the progress of the sickness so that it claimed lives in days rather than hours. While this was a bit of good news, they focused on how little it was accomplished over such a long span of time, and how anyone with the sickness couldn't be kept stringing along, but rather destroyed so that they couldn't contaminate anyone else. There was a coldness in their voice. I rolled over in my bed to watch the nights play across my vision, dancing across my eyes until I fell asleep. The scrubs were gone the next day, leaving us behind as their failed experiment. The other children seemed unaware of this and decided to continue befriending imaginary creatures. In a depression, I sulked off to bed, only to suffer a violent burst of spasms and shivering in the process. I drifted in and out of sleep that night, having one recurring nightmare after another. When I awoke, I heard someone pass through my doorway, something that couldn't possibly be there. Rolling over, I reluctantly looked up into the air to watch a trailing ball of light float around my house before descending towards my bed. Oh my god. Hello? Link? Wake up. The great Deku Tree has summoned you. Bro, what the heck? Oh my god. I was wondering if it was Zelda themed. I'm gonna be honest. I was wondering. The fact that you wanted me to read it made me think it was Zelda themed. Wow. That's crazy. The Deku Tree. Wow. That was a good one, though. Ben Drowned is also Zelda themed. I think I read that one last year, if I remember, or the year before. That one sounds familiar. I feel like I did read that one. Hold on. Hi, Spectre. Welcome to the stream. Rip Ben. Oh, here it is. It won't let me read it because I have an ad blocker on. That sounds like a skill issue, my dude. Alright. I remember hearing Zorax the first time. The Zora and Goron went over my head. Wait a minute, hold on. I'm not gonna lie, that went over my head too. Wait a minute, hang on. Okay. I can see why this is Zelda. Okay. Makes sense. Okay. Pretty neat. Okay, I'll do... I see you added Lavender Town. Lavender Town's in here. How long is this one? This one's relatively long, but it might be okay. I'm trying to look for ones that are a little shorter. How long is Teddy? I hate that picture so much. Okay, Teddy's short enough. It should be fine. Alright. This picture is terrifying. My sister had a teddy bear. A scary teddy bear. I do not know why, but it creeped me out. It was just so disturbing to me. The thing had eyes that looked so real, as if it was made from a real bear, and its face was just blank and unsettling. I started to get weird feelings about the bear when my sister first got it. She had only a baby at the time, and I was about 4. We had a dog, you see, and he had a habit of eating things. So my mother had to always put it on the top of the small cabinet in the corner of the hallway upstairs. Every time I went up those stairs, I saw that creepy bear suddenly glare around the corner at me, as if it was watching me. This wasn't the weird part. It started to get really strange about 5 years later. At the age of 6 or 7, my sister had lost interest in the bear, so my mother just threw it in the old toy cupboard. The only problem was that cupboard was in my room. When I was 9, old enough to stay in my own room and go to bed without any assistance, I would get into bed every night and turn my lamp off. This is when it got scary. As I was getting some sleep, I suddenly remembered Mom putting that teddy in the cupboard. I slowly turned and looked across my room to see it through the glass. My heart suddenly stopped as I thought about the horrors the plush had caused me. But at the age of 9, I wanted to grow up and lose my fears, so I shook it off and put my head back on the pillow. When I got up to pull my sheets on a bit further, I noticed something that would scar me for life. There, sat at the end of my bedroom, was the teddy. I sat there staring at it for about a minute. My heart started beating normally again. When I needed to yawn, I closed my eyes. I opened them to see the teddy sitting closer to my bed. At this point, I was really freaked out. I started to move back to the wall and look around to see if there was any sign of anyone had come in. When I looked back to see the teddy on the end of my bed, I was so startled that I almost fainted from fear. When I blinked, it had gone. I looked around. To my relief, I saw no sign of it. I sat my head back down on the pillow, hoping for some sleep. Then I opened my eyes. It was above my head, staring straight down. I screamed as it lunged down at me. I will never see a bear the same way again. A few years later, after years of horror, I burned it. I sat in enjoyment as the bear turned into smoking ashes in my fireplace. I have lived my teenage life through adolescence. The only thing I could remember that was in any way similar to my bad experience was when I watched Trainspotting. That stupid baby scene shocked me so badly, but other than that, all went well. When I turned 19, I was about to move into my new home. I had been given the keys to the house and was ready to set up my furniture. After hours of carrying, I carried the final box from the removal truck into the front door and shut the door behind me. I turned to go into the kitchen and put it on the table. I opened to see a cabinet, took it out, walked into my new living room and placed it in the corner, stared at it, and thought to myself, I don't remember packing this cabinet. I didn't really care that much. I had just moved into my new home. I walked back into the kitchen to grab my television, brought it into the living room when I saw it. The teddy. It just sat there, staring at me. Ominous. Spooky. The teddy has returned. Spooky.
Menacingly.
Wait, so they were fighting the bear for years and only burned it after moving out? I guess that was the vibe that I got. Not fully sure if that's what they were going with it, but that was kind of the vibe that I got. I was like, interesting. So Chucky but a bear. Ow. Yeah, pretty much. Ooh, okay. What's this one? This one's rather long. I'm trying to look for shorter ones so I can get more in. The picture was creepier than the story. It really is, though. I'm gonna have nightmares from this stupid picture. I think it's terrifying. Alright, we'll do this one. This one is the thing that stalks the fields. I'm gonna just take a drink of water real quick. Can we see the picture? Did somebody screenshot it? Oh, terrifying. Gross. I hate it. Yeah, it's in my general chat. This thing is terrifying to me. I don't know why. I do not like that one bit. Okay, anyway. I was expecting much worse. I'm a baby when it comes to horror things, okay? I have a thing. I don't know. I don't have a doll phobia, but I do not. I do not do well with those kinds of dolls. With the realistic eyes, they freak me out, man. I do not like them. I don't like them staring at me. I do not like looking at them. When I went to the thrift store, a couple weeks ago, they had an entire row dedicated to dolls. And it was terrifying. I was like, no thank you. I'm gonna turn that into an emote in a server and burst it out every now and then. Please don't. Looks like the furry that lives down the street. I mean, could be. I would give them the Apple Jacks Pop-Tart treatment. Yeah, they deserve that. I just don't like the way that the realistic dolls look. They just freak me out. Maybe that's just a me thing. I don't know. All right. So this one is the thing that stalks the fields. Okay. It was a few weeks ago that the hay bales started creeping slowly away from the house. Oops. Every morning when I woke up, each had moved a few hundred feet from where it was before. I assumed it was pranksters with nothing better to do, so I ignored it. Within a few days, though, the bales began to approach the boundaries of the farm. I was tired of the whole game by then, and decided to move them back. It took a tedious hour to bring them all from where they were to over near the house again, and by the time I was done, I was ready to snap the neck of whatever little delinquent was deciding to mess with me. The next morning, I found each and every one of my horses messily decapitated. Not the horsies! Not the Umas! No! The smell was what woke me up. Each one slumped over against the side of its stall. There were no signs of the heads. I spent the rest of the day cleaning up the mess and burying the remains. It was only when I was done that I noticed the bales of hay had all returned to their positions from the day before, scattered far out into the fields. This time I left them where they were. That night, I sat on my porch with my shotgun in hand and a pot of coffee on the table beside me. I sat for hours, straining my eyes into the fields to catch a glimpse of who was moving my hay bales. Finally, I was beginning to nod off. I would have, but just as my eyes began to close, I heard a clamor and rustling of trees and from the nearby woods. I leaned forward, my heart racing with excitement. I was going to catch the butthole. I fumed my gun and fidgeted in my seat, fumbled. I fumbled my gun and fidgeted in my seat, waiting anxiously for whoever it was to get close enough to ambush. It was only when the thing got close enough for me to make out its silhouette in the dark that I was frozen still. The thing that crept into my fields from the nearby woods didn't seem to notice me sitting there. It stalked, hunched and deliberate, though the field with the posture of a tiptoeing thief. If not for the fact that it must have towered to over 10 feet tall with its even crouched position, it might have seemed almost frail. The thinness of its arms and legs and the emaciated, caved-in quality of its chest reminded me of a starving animal. Still, this thing was undeniably strong, and I watched it hoist each bale up into its arms with ease and set it down carefully a while away, taking only a few strides to cover the distance. I watched it work, moving each bale thoughtfully. Every once in a while, it would straighten up to look around at the other bales' positions in the field before adjusting the one it was working on ever so slightly. Before it left, it looked towards the house. I felt its eyes sweep over me in the dark, but whether it saw me or not, I couldn't tell. Then it turned silently and crept back in the way it came, disappearing into the dark of the woods. It took me an hour before I had the courage to move it all. I went inside after a while, but didn't sleep that night. It was only when the sun rose that I dared to step off my porch into the fields. The hay bales were there where it left them. Strangely, it didn't move them as far as it had in the previous days. They were approaching something invisible in the fields. As I looked at them, I realized that they had seemed to be marking some line. Indeed, as I walked around the house, I saw a distinct circle that they had formed with me at the center. At first, I thought the bales were just being haphazardly moved away from the house, but now I could see that they were instead being moved towards some boundary. The thing was sending me a message. I slept uneasily that night, and only because I was exhausted. The next morning, the bales hadn't moved at all. They didn't move at all for the rest of that week, in fact. They were finally where that thing wanted them. I made myself sick trying to interpret them. Why would this thing expend so much energy moving my hay bales, and then threaten me with such violence I should try to interfere? Killing my horses was just that, a threat. An intelligent threat at that. It knew that what would scare me, and it knew it would understand that I would understand the implications. The sound of an automobile working its way along the road to my farm one morning gave me a little rush of excitement. I'd been planning to abandon the farm since I saw the thing, but I couldn't hope to leave on foot without risking it treating me like it treated my horses. But if I could get in the car with whoever was coming my way, I might be able to escape it before it could stop me. I didn't know or care who it was. I decided that moment they stopped the car, I would jump in the passenger seat and tell them to get me out of here. I didn't get the chance. The car worked its way slowly along the road, trundling across the uneven ground. I urged it silently to hurry. It was when it passed between the two bales placed on either side of the road that I began to hear a booming clatter from the woods. The thing burst suddenly from in between the trees, sprinting on all four of its terrible gangly limbs towards the car. Within a few seconds it was there, pouncing on the automobile like a predatory cat. Within moments it was picking and peeling the vehicle's steel frame apart, working to get at the driver. The man, whoever he was, screamed all the while, and I could hear him even over the crunching of the metal and the shattering of glass. It was only when the thing crushed him carelessly in his hand that the screaming stopped. It tossed him away and straightened up to look at me once again. In the sunlight, I could hear the inhumanity of it. It was composed entirely of something awful and alive, which was lashed together in a messy semblance of a human form. Whether it was made of Whatever it was made of looked so polished and hard that if it weren't for the minute writhing of the stuff, I would think it was made of granite. The thing retreated back into the woods, and I was left to my shock. My eyes wandered to where the car sat, the engine still sputtering, between the two hay bales. Suddenly, I understood. The message was clear. I am this thing's captive, and I am not allowed visitors. Nothing may cross the borders it has set. I'm trapped here by the thing that stalks the fields, and demands nothing except that I never leave. Still, I don't know if I can handle being that thing's canary. I've been thinking hard for the last 2 days since I saw it crush the man's chest, and silence him before he could finish his scream. If I crossed the hay bale border, it'd probably do the same. It'd smash my skull before I could even put up my hands to protect myself. It'd go and find a new pet, and probably keep looking until it found someone who could stand knowing that it was just waiting outside, watching at all hours with its shiny insect eyes. I've been thinking hard for the past few days, and I might just make a run for it. Booyah. Scary, spooky, spooky, scary, spooky, scary, spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. Spooky, scary, spooky, scary. Genuinely getting freaked out. I've turned on a lot of lights. Well, that's what creepypastas do. They freak people out. Well, that one was giving vibes of Slender Man.
So with honey and you're making out when the phone rings. You answer it and the voice says, what are you doing with my daughter? You tell her girl and she say my dad is dead. Then who was phone?
Who was phone? Thank you for the super chat, Mass. Toot toot. Who was phone? Who was phone? Great question. Who was phone? Who was phone? Why was phone? How is phone? Alright. Let's see here. New phone, who dis? Okay, let me actually. Okay, there we go. The phone gains sentience. Okay. Alright, let's see. What else do we have in here? Alright. How long is this one? This one's extremely long. Okay. It won't let me access this site without turning off my ad blocker. How long is this one? Alright, Lavender Town Syndrome. I remember this one. Man door, hand hook, car door. What? Alright. I do remember the Lavender Town Syndrome. Alright. Lavender Town Syndrome. The Lavender Town syndrome, also known as Lavender Town tone or Lavender Town suicides, was a peak in suicides and illness of children between the ages of 7 and 12, shortly after the release of Pokemon Red and Green in Japan back in February 27th, 1996. Rumors say that these suicides and illnesses only occurred after the children playing the game reached Lavender Town, whose theme music had extremely high frequencies that studies showed that only young children and young teens can hear since their ears are more sensitive. Due to the lavender tone, at least 200 children supposedly committed suicide, and many more developed illnesses and afflictions. The children who committed suicide usually did so by hanging or jumping from heights. Those who did not act irrationally complained of severe headaches after listening to Lavender Town's themes. Although Lavender Town now sounds differently depending upon the game, this mass hysteria was caused by the first Pokemon game released. After the Lavender Tone incident, the programmers had fixed Lavender Town's theme music to be at a lower frequency, and since the children were no longer affected by it. One video appeared in 2010 using special software to analyze the audio of Lavender Town's music. When played, the software created images of the unknown near the end of the audio. This raised a controversy since the Unknown didn't appear until Generation 2 games, Silver, Gold, and Crystal. The Unknown translate to leave now. There is also the said beta version of Lavender Town. It is said that the beta version of Pocket Monsters was released to some kids to test the games. The video of the beta version of Lavender Town. Oh, alright, hang on. Nope, wait, that's me. Alright, 1 second. Yeah, the Lavender Town music is very creepy. It's very creepy indeed. I'm not gonna play the whole thing due to copyright, but you get the idea. Alright. Turn that down a little bit. Oh, that was it. I was just reading the comments. Yeah, that was it. Is that true? Is that like a real thing, or did somebody just like make that up? Like, is that like an actual fact that people like did research on? Like, did Lavender Town actually do that, or is it just a creepypasta that somebody created? It's made up. I figured, but still kind of silly to think about. Just something to think about, that Nintendo possibly could have had a like hand in doing. I don't know. Kind of crazy. More believable than the Tails doll curse. If anything, the hearing sensitivity might be real. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Very true, very true. Oh, I remember the Ben drowned one. It's so long. What's this one? Also super long. I need shorter ones so I can read more. Uh. Oh, this one isn't that bad. Alright, I'll do this one. This one is called The Back Rooms. The back rooms. The back shots. Hang on. Spooky. Okay. I downloaded the wrong Backrooms game. Oh no. Yeah. You don't want to do that. You might end up meeting something that you didn't want to meet. The agony. Whatever are you going to do? Meeting things that you don't want to meet. Oh no. Meeting face to face with monsters that you never thought you would see. Being stuck with people. Meeting strange redheads in maid outfits. How could you ever put yourself through that? The thought of that makes you scared. The thought of that makes you wonder what it is that you're doing with your life. Okay. These stories remind me of a time I was working and listening to a Gura stream. She was playing Mortuary Assistant, and I heard an ice cream truck. It was odd because it was an industrial estate. It was also winter, so I super chatted Gura about it. Later, I sent another super chat to Gura stating that the ice cream truck was closer and I was going to investigate. Bruh. Why worry? It's just Mume. So true. Alright, time for the back rooms. It's late September. You remember these nights? Humid, muggy, just a hint of the coming fall. Too cold for a t-shirt, but too warm for a sweater. These were the nights best spent at the Cook Place Community Mall, my modest Midwest hometown. A diamond in the rough. In my eyes, this shopping center is a break from the monotony of tired hardware stores and family grocers that lined Main Street. The Cook Place Mall is typically packed to capacity. But not tonight, because it was 8:15 p.m. on a Tuesday night, 45 minutes until close. Not exactly prime window shopping hours. Despite that, my three friends and I were still going strong. We were ending the night with the dusty arcade located in the basement of the shopping mall. It was down a short flight of stairs between the Dairy Queen and Sbarro in the food court. Faded and flickering carnival lights lined the dimly lit hallways and steps. Andy, do you have another quarter? Philip, my youngest friend, questioned as the words "game over" splattered across the screen. Philip was 12 years old and a bit underdeveloped for his age. Andrew, his older brother, my best friend, and my biology partner, scowled as he rummaged through his pockets in vain. Maybe if you were a bit better at the game, I'd have more quarters for you to play on. It was 8:16 p.m., and it seemed our time in the arcade may be coming to a close. I had a few loose quarters left in my pocket, but that was going to stay my secret. I was hoping to spend it on a Coke tomorrow before class started. Clay, a guy Andy and I had just met in biology, had clearly been waiting for his moment. Honestly, yeah, guys, it's getting a bit late. I think I'm gonna bounce. Gotta study for our exam on cellular reproduction. The exam wasn't for a week yet, but I wasn't bothered. Clay had been acting a bit ambivalent since we got to the mall. Seemed like he wasn't a huge fan of having Philip around. Cramped his style or whatever. I didn't care. Philip was pretty much like a brother to me, so he came first. Philip, having realized there would be nearly a quarter for him, gave up aimlessly pressing buttons on the greasy machine. I have to go to the bathroom. Didn't you just go? Sighed Andy. Yeah, but we had a large soda. You had a large soda, kid. By the time I got a sip, it was all backwash. I chuckled as Andy and Philip started their way to the arcade machines. Clay, while texting, followed lazily behind them. It was 8:24, and we had located a bathroom. The bathroom we were used to using in the mall on the way out to the front door was closed for renovations, so we had to find another one. An L-shaped hallway lit with a yellow humming fluorescent lights ended with a corresponding bathroom on either side of the hall, with custodial equipment blocking the women's entrance. Philip rushed into the restroom. The mall closed at 9 p.m., so we were going to need to get moving. Sure enough, as the thought crossed my mind, the ratty old mall intercom crackled to life with a ding-dong. An adolescent male voice spoke sharply. Mall closing in 30 minutes. Mall closing in 30 minutes. I checked my watch. It was 8:26 p.m. Huh, someone's in a hurry to get out of here tonight. I thought, that's retail. Clay spoke up. I might just get going, you guys. I live pretty close to here. I'm gonna walk instead of the bus. Good night. Night, Clay, we said in unison. He turned his back and walked away, turning right to depart the mall. Andy and I looked at one another. I don't know. Kind of a wet blanket. He seemed really cool when I met him, Andy explained. Nah, he was okay. Maybe just a little bit quiet. The texting was a bit annoying, though. Our attention was drawn to the sound of a flush from the bathroom. Andy's face twisted into a mischievous grin. Hey, we could give Philip a little fright when he comes out. Remembering how jumpy Philip tended to be, I felt a pang of guilt. It wasn't really nice to spook him, and we did it often. Nonetheless, I stood on the other side of the door, opposite Andy, waiting for Philip to step between us, not expecting a thing. The door swung open. Philip stepped out of the hallway, focused on drying his hands on his pants. He stepped by none the wiser. Ah! Andy yelled as we each grabbed the shoulder. Philip yelled and twisted around and fell backwards. Philip fell into the wall. And then Philip fell into the wall. That's the only way I know how to describe it. One moment, he had slipped off his feet and crashed into the wall. The next, everything but his legs had gone through the wall, as if there was some perfectly shaped hole in the concrete. Philip's legs spasmed in the air in the same looping, spastic pattern for a few seconds. And then there was nothing left but solid concrete. What? Andy stuttered as he fell to his knees, and a mixture of curiosity and confusion. As he shuffled towards the wall, his face turned to fear. I don't understand. I don't understand. Philip? He shouted his brother's name with a desperate, wavering cry. Philip! He slammed his hands into the wall. Once. Twice. Not a third time. Andy's head now protruded from the wall, facing the ceiling. His head seized from side to side as he continued to scream for his brother. God, he sounded like he was yelling through a box fan. I stepped backwards as my best friend disappeared from sight, and I was left with his scream bouncing off the hallway walls, intensifying as it mixed with the hum of the fluorescence. The howl of the fluorescence. My back pressed against the bathroom door, and I jumped. I screamed as my world exploded with static, deafening and blinding me. The noise was unbearable, and the grain obscured everything. And all at once, it stopped. I clenched my head in my hands, my eyes squeezed shut. The static had dissipated, but it was replaced with the hum of fluorescent lights, the all-too-familiar yellow glow through my eyelids. But there was something new, a smell that hadn't been there before. The musty, wet smell of carpet. Carpet that should have been changed decades ago. The smell reminded me of a dilapidated bowling alley down the road from the mall. I opened my eyes. Before me was the bathroom hallway, as expected, lit by the same light before. The bathroom doors were gone. There were no more doors. No more custodial equipment. Just a smooth slab of concrete wall. I got to my feet and looked around me cautiously. I was in the mall still, but it was quiet. It felt different. The fluorescent hum buzz was too loud. My ears itch. I walked down the hallway in the direction of the food court. As I turned the corner, I was met with, not the opening to the food court as I expected, but by another abrupt 90-degree corner, turning to the left. Ding dong! I froze. The loudspeaker was engaged, and an empty air of the speaker nearest to me told me that, but the operator had nothing to say. After a motionless moment, what felt like hours, the microphone snapped back into the console, cutting the empty noise. Whomever had activated the speaker seemed to have hung up. Confused, and growing ever more frightful of where I had found myself, I turned the corner. I was met with a large empty room that I had never seen before. It was about the size of a classroom, with stained concrete walls. The smell of must was even stronger than in here. Each wall had been an identical rectangular door shape opening that seemed to have been placed at randomly decided positions among the wall. The popcorn ceiling, littered with smears of dirt and greasy imprints, had long cracks spanning it. This room was clearly in need of renovation. I don't understand, I muttered out loud. I truly didn't. The featureless room served no purpose other than a passageway to the other rooms. The lack of planning and absent attempt for carrying the room made me feel like this, as if this place was long forgotten. Might as well try the next room, I thought to myself, as I walked through the door to my left. The room I found myself in was oblique and unrecognizable as the last. From my first glance, the only difference in the style was that the room was shaped as a triangle. I heard a single cry from my right. It was more of a whimper, actually. What the crap? It was Clay's voice. It couldn't be Clay. I watched him leave the mall. I rushed through the door to find Clay laying in a fetal position in the hallway, stretching the distance to my left and right. Change the channel, change the channel, change the channel. Clay babbled incoherently as he sobbed on the floor. Clay, you've got to get up. Clay didn't respond to me. He never would. His eyes, widening and unblinking with fear, were glued to the floor. How could fluorescent lights be so dang noisy? Then I saw it. Then I felt it. Alright, hang on. What did we feel? Oh no. Taking a drink of water. Hang on. What did we feel? Ooh. What did we feel? Okay. Waiting for Dino Dad's comment to come in on my side. Oh, there we go. I wonder if Clay and Calvin are brothers. Calvin! Calvin! They could be. Okay. It hung motionless in the air, feet lightly scraping the ground. It had dry, crackled skin that was dressed loosely with torn, rough sponge shorts. It had the torso of a man, but its torso was on the wrong way. Its frail and feeble arms outstretched the ceiling, but not quite reaching, as if it's an act of surrender. It had a crooked head, as if confused, and it peered down the hallway at me. Dark, beady eyes stared widely at me through the holes in the bloody duct tape wrapped around its head, and then it started to float towards us. Every time I blinked, stunned in absolute horror, it was not where I expected. A few feet forward, some inches to the left, never where it should be. And yet, it was getting closer. Even closer. What I saw next will follow me forever. I turned to run, breaking the stillness, and sprinted down the hallway. I don't know, I guess I just assumed Clay would follow in the moment, but I was wrong. A blood-curdling screech shook the hallway, and I ripped around. It had reached Clay. He still wasn't looking, but he was certainly screaming. It extended its long, spindly arms and cradled him like a child. But it wouldn't look away from me. No, its eyes never left mine. In one quick, jerking motion, it was holding Clay by the top of his head, palming him like a basketball. I blinked, and it had grasped Clay's arm with its free hand. With brute strength, it twisted Clay by the torso. Clay, screaming, cut short with a fleshy crunch as he dropped to the floor in a twisted pile. His eyes had finally opened to look at me one last time, and then I screamed. The louder I screamed, the louder the fluorescent hum became. Which was louder, I couldn't tell. I turned and ran to the first door I saw, blindly twisting and turning through the rooms that followed. Why on earth does this room look the same? Why on earth does every room look the same? I turned a corner and ran face first into a dark mass. We both fell onto the floor. Andy! How did you get down here? Where the heck are we? I don't know, Andy. Where's Philip? We have to get him right now and leave. We turned and rushed down the third hallway, perpendicular to the hallway Andy and I met in. We ran until we felt we could run no more, and then fell into the final doorway. We landed in a mass on the damp floor and quickly scuttled to the back wall. The hum of lights was all we could hear, louder and louder. Then they all went out. Silence. We found ourselves in total darkness, and in total silence as we clutched each other. No, wait, not total silence. The sound of static, as if emitting from a television, slowly coming towards us. Only when the light, coming from the source of the noise, started to slowly illuminate the room did I realize this room only had one door. It floated around the door frame, toes dragging on the floor as it cast its bloody eyes upon us. Andy and I, mute with fear, stood against the wall. Andy moved himself in front of me. It floated towards us. Andy raised his arms. It reached out for us. Leave us alone! Ding dong. We all became statues. We locked eyes with it as we listened to the intercom crackle to life. Shallow, rapid breathing came through the speaker. Andy? It was Philip. With guttural scream, Andy lunged towards it. I fell backwards into the wall, and I landed inside of a trash can. What? I was inside of a trash can, filled with the refuse from a full day of food court disposal. Kid, what are you doing in here? I looked out to see a very confused elderly janitor, wondering why a young man was taking a Sabaro bath after mall hours. It was 9:32 p.m. At least that's what the clock over the water fountain said. The water fountain? I'm back in the mall. Oh, sorry, I was just hungry, and I ran. In the following years, I would try to make sense of what happened back in that hallway. I even went so far as to returning there and trying to access that place, but to no avail. I never found a thing. I kept trying until they demolished the mall a year later. Philip and Andy's parents weren't really present when they were around, so it didn't make much of a deal on TV when they were interviewed, despite the media trying to fire them up. They just seemed like it was the final straw to send them to total apathy. Last I heard, Clay's parents moved out of town, but they were paying exorbitant PI bills to find their son. After a few years of not really doing well, very good detective work, I found a few rotations of milk cartons. Andy and Philip were forgotten by our sleepy little town. But sometimes when I'm going to sleep, I remember. And I leave the TV on channel 3. There's nothing broadcasting on that channel, but the static helps me sleep. Sleepy static. Yeah, so Andy and Philip have died. And Clay. Clay also died. Everybody died except this one dude. Rest in peace. Everyone died. The end. Bro was really the MC with plot armor. Honestly, it was giving Stranger Things vibes. Like, for some of the things that were being said, it made me feel like that it was it was Stranger Things. Dang, bro's the ugly barnacle. It's called the ugly barnacle. There was a barnacle that was so ugly that everyone died. The end. He was so ugly that everyone died. Ended up in a trash can like Ginger that one time. Yes! The real horror. I can see the back rooms of Stranger Things. Yeah! Yeah. Oh, here's one. Somebody wrote this. I have no idea what this even entails. I just looked it up. Alright. The last race of Tokai Teo. In the vibrant world of Uma Musume, Tokai Teo was a shining star, her spirit rivaling the brightness of her sky blue eyes. The fiery passion she had for racing was matched only by her determination to prove herself worthy of the admiration she felt for Symboli Rudolph. But beneath the surface of this lively horse girl was a growling darkness, a creeping dread that her racing days were numbered. After fracturing her leg, the prognosis was grim. Doctors warned her that she may never race again, a thought that sent shivers down her spine. As her teammates rallied around her, promising to support her recovery, the weight of her dreams pressed heavily on her heart. Each night, she was haunted by nightmares of her friends racing without her, their laughter echoing in the distance while she remained trapped in the shadows, unable to join them. Despite the warnings, Tokai couldn't shake off the urge to prove herself. The last day of the Takakurazura Kainen approached, and the air buzzed with anticipation. The sun hung low, casting eerie shadows as Tokai made her way to the starting line, determination etched on her face. She knew that she was injured, but her pride and passion fueled her decision to race. I can't let my team down, she thought, ignoring the sharp pains in her leg. As the race began, the roar of the crowd faded, and all that mattered was the track ahead of her. With every stride, the pain surged, but the thrill of the race drowned out her fear. She could hear Symboli's voice in her head, urging her on, but as she rounded the final turn, the world began to blur. In that moment, she felt both invisible and fragile, a delicate balance of glory and impending doom. In a split second, the ground rushed up to meet her. A sharp snap echoed through the air, the sound of her leg fracturing under the pressure. The world spun into chaos as Tokai felt herself sliding across the track, the cheers of crowd morphing into whispers of horror. "Get up, Tokai, you can do it!" she screamed internally, but the pain was too great. The light dimmed, and for the first time, Tokai felt the cold grip of defeat wrap around her heart. As she laid on the track, the last remnants of her strength slipping away, a haunted realization washed over her. She had sacrificed everything for a fleeting moment of glory. In those final moments, she saw the faces of her friends, the ones she cherished most, watching her with tears in her eyes. In the depths of her fading consciousness, Tokai felt a strange comfort wash over her. She was not alone. They were with her, embracing her in their love, even in her darkest hour. But as the world faded to black, she was seized by an overwhelming regret, a silent scream echoing in her heart, if only I had listened. As the crowd mourned the loss of a bright star, the last race of Tokai Tale became nothing more than a ghostly reminder of ambition unchecked, a thrilling tale that would be whispered among the horse girls for generations to come. Rest in peace, Tokai Teo. Teo disappeared. Teo broke her leg and she died. Rest in peace. I don't like that one. Literally a my leg story. Yeah. Don't look up rice shower. Is it the creepy shower one? I think I just saw that pop up. I would take a guess that the rice shower one, she literally kills herself. Rice shower died on the track IRL. Yes, she did. He did. He, she, I don't actually know what the actual horse is. But yes, I did know that. Is Discord having a moment? Nothing's loading. Okay. Rice shower is a horse. An actual racing horse, but also a horse girl in Uma Musume. Pretty derby. Alright, I could probably do... Wait, hold on. I was trying to see if I could find another short one. Because a lot of the ones that are posted are like super long. Oh wait, what's this one? Super long. What's this one? Okay, this one's not terrible. I'll do this one. All right, Faces in the Storm. That's okay, Ginger. Okay. All right. Faces in the Storm. I think I'm going to go insane. It's been 28 days since the 17th of December, and the rain hasn't faltered for a second since then. It keeps falling in sheets, driving down from the heavens like a waterfall. Outside, you feel like you could drown walking. That's when all of this started out. I don't think anyone thought much of it. I mean, this nightmare was just another winter storm then. It started in some kind of odd place out in the North Atlantic across from the Gulf of St. Lawrence, but I'm not sure that meant anything to the people who weren't meteorologists or oceanographers. The storm started out expanding very rapidly. I'm not sure if it's still growing or not, since the TV hadn't come on for more than 3 weeks, but it sure hasn't moved at all. Things started looking more bizarre when the wind failed to move the storm. It just kept hammering New England, growing south along the coastline from Maine all the way down to where I lived in Nassau County, just outside of New York City. The weather forecast changed every few minutes as forecasters revised their estimates, going from saying that there would be light flurries, to saying that there would be a few inches of snow, to saying that there would be an absolute blizzard across the city, and everyone should stay inside. My wife, Sarah, couldn't heed that warning, though. She had to go to work, and I had to stay home and take care of our 5-year-old daughter, Tanya. When my wife walked outside that morning, I promised her that I would keep Tanya safe. Watching Sarah pull out of the driveway in her Nissan Altima, I had no idea that would be the last time I would ever see her. As the days wore on, the weather took a turn for the worse. It looked like the weather forecasters were right, predicting one of the worst storms New York had seen in over a century. It amazed me when the power stayed on late into the night, but I wasn't complaining. You never know exactly how bad a blackout really is until you go through one with a 5-year-old who's still terrified of the dark. Not that I can say that I'm not terrified of the dark anymore myself. Last time we saw the cheerful, smiling forecasters on the Weather Channel, they were just saying that the storm had expanded south into New Jersey, and that we could receive 2 feet of snow during the night. It was at about 6:23 p.m., I think. Less than a minute later, the Weather Channel was cut off, and every program on the television changed to a warning, telling everyone to get out of New York City along whatever bridge they could take and avoid Manhattan Island. I tried to reach the company where Sarah worked on my phone, but the lines were down. I really didn't know what was going on, but I decided to listen to the reporters on my TV and get Tanya out of the city. I struggled with the idea that I couldn't just desert Sarah, who worked in Manhattan, but I got outside. I realized that I couldn't possibly, but when I got outside, I realized that I possibly couldn't risk going there. To the south, across the horizon, the dark clouds of the night were painted red in flames. The traffic was horrible, but not as bad as you might think. A lot of people were reluctant to leave. They all seemed to be in shock. I drove my Cadillac across the roads through Nassau and Queens, seeing a lot of people standing by the roadside watching the shadow of the flames flickering against the sky, but running into far fewer actually driving along the road. Some of the people were slowly making their way by foot out of the city, and as the time went on, the traffic congestion got a bit worse, but I amazingly was able to get myself and Tanya out of New York before it came so bad that I couldn't drive at all. Okay, crazy thing. Is this about 9/11? Like, I'm getting the feeling that this is about the towers. I could be like extremely wrong, that it's literally just snow, but no, okay, all right, I was just making sure. Okay, all right, I was just making sure. Okay, all right. Okay, all right, I was just making sure. Hi, watcher, welcome to the stream. It does feel that way. Yeah, I was getting those vibes. All right. I remember looking across the harbor on the road from Queens to the mainland and seeing Manhattan Island burning. I don't think that I'll ever forget that. Tanya kept staring out the window, speechless and tired too, I believe. I don't know for certain what time it happened to be, but I think it was past 11. All night, I drove to the countryside, picking up a radio station that would tell me what's going on. There was nothing anywhere, though, except for the mandatory evacuation of New York. It seemed odd to me that I have seen very few police officers with no military officials anywhere. Now looking back, I think they were probably all either elsewhere or dead. Also, I just want to add, side note, New York is not a part of New England. I just want to put that out there. New York is not one of the 6 states of New England. Just letting you know. So this story was not entirely correct. No, it's not part of New England. It's the Northwest, not New England. Yeah, exactly. It is not part of New England, no. Pennsylvania is also not part of New England. New York is part of New York. Yes, exactly. Exactly. New England consists of Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Connecticut. Yeah. Considered Northeast, but not New England. Exactly. Yeah. I know. I live in Hawaii. I don't know how you mainlanders group these things. I don't know. Still better than Old England. Fair enough. New York, New York. Everything in New England is upstate from New York. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out, that New York is not part of New England. Anyway, the next day, things were worse. The weather started getting warmer, and the snow turned into rain. Piles of snow by the roadside were melting, and the black top was covered with water and mud. The clouds kept getting darker as the day went on, and we ran into more and more traffic, coming from places all along coastal New England. The radio evacuation order was going out then to everyone from Massachusetts south to New Jersey. New Jersey is also not part of New England. By the time that night fell, it was pretty hard to tell night from day. Tanya started asking me where her mother was, and I had to lie to her to tell her that Sarah was okay. Really, I was lying to myself too. I thought that maybe she was somewhere along the highway right now, safely in her silver Altima. I have no doubts now that she was already dead. We eventually had to pull off the road and go sleep in our car. There were some strange sounds in the night around us, but my daughter kept waking up, scared that the monster that she believed had been living under her bed in Nassau was with us, living under the car. I told her that it was all just her imagination, but I couldn't help but hearing the scratching on the undercarriage, or the occasional low purr coming from somewhere further out in the night. When the morning came, everything seemed well again, that is, until I got moving. I wanted to believe that the sounds I had heard the night before, and that ever-present sense of something out there in the night had all been figments of my imagination, but what I saw along the roadside shook that pleasant notion from my head. Everywhere, there were cars still sitting on the roadside, their windows broken out and their doors sometimes torn off the hinges. In front of some, deep trails led through the melting snow into the distance. There was no way that I was going to stay out in the car that night. Instead, I chose to find a house along the road which looked empty and, well, I broke in. To be more accurate, I knocked on the door, and it creaked open on its own. No one was inside, so I decided that I and Tanya would stay in there for the night. The door locked safely and securely behind us, and we seemed to be safe. We've been in that house ever since. At first, we stayed in the upper part of the house, but as the nights and the days grew together into one dark, pitch-black blur, we decided that the basement was probably safer. Just in time, too. Soon after we went down into the basement, I heard something break down the front door and crash around in the upper part of the building, toppling tables and knocking over the television. Time passed slowly, eternally, dragging on. The temperature kept getting warmer and warmer until it began to feel more like the middle of summer than the middle of winter. Then, one night, I think it was impossible to tell, the world around us grew warmer than the inside of an oven. Can't say that the temperature was lower than 150 degrees. It was almost internally scalding. A little bit of water had started creeping into the basement through the windows high up on the walls, and my daughter and I tried to stay out of it because it was nearly hot enough to boil. That was the night I saw something I really wish I could just unsee. My daughter went to sleep early. She was tired, and I think a little sick. For a little while, I let her sleep alone, choosing to look out through one of the closed windows where no water was pouring in. At first, I saw nothing but the pitch black of the storm. Then I noticed something out in the night. A few darkly glowing patches of luminescent green coming from something I couldn't see. I watched them for a while as they bounced through the depthness darkness, moving along at a distance I couldn't really understand. Then, there were several bright flashes of lightning, and I realized what I was watching was much larger than anything I could have possibly imagined. How tall it was, I'm not really sure, but I know it had to be bigger than a mountain. It was just a shadow in the distance, but it had enough form for me to know that it was not normal. Even in the twisted alternate version of reality which comes from the storm, I could feel the heat coming off of it and coming through the window like an open fire, less than an inch from my face. In its wake, there were flames spouting up from the forests of southern New York and casting black trails of smoke against the black sky. Soon, the light from the brief outburst of lightning strikes fell away, but the green glow continued. I kept watching for a while before going back to sit with Tanya. Those images burned forever in my mind. Hi Thomas, welcome to the stream. Soon the light from the brief outbursts of the lightning strikes fell away, but the green glow continued. I kept watching for a while before going back to sit with Tanya. I think I just read that part. Sorry. My bad. When the morning came, the world was a bit cooler. As the next day wore on, and the next after it, the temperature went even lower, and so did our stocks of food. The owners of the house had a few weeks of worth of food in the basement. Apparently, they were farmers who had kept old traditions of canning and drying their own produce. It lasted longer than I thought, but now we've been out for a while. I think Tanya and I are going to head out. If the car works, we'll take it. If it doesn't, we'll figure something out. There's water everywhere, and there's more than a foot deep on the flat land here. The ground reached its saturation point weeks ago, and the water hasn't had time to drain away fully. I don't know what's going to happen if it keeps raining. I guess this part of New York's going to join the Atlantic Ocean. I'm just thinking that maybe we could get to safety somewhere. It has to be some place where this storm hasn't reached. I'm leaving this note here in case someone finds it eventually. I just want there to be some remnant of Tanya, Sarah, and I passing through this world. I don't want us all to just be 3 more faces in the storm. And then it's signed BBC. Dang. That was crazy. That feels like a nuclear explosion type story, like dealing through the going through the wasteland type thing. That's crazy. That's a straight up survival game story. Yeah. Pretty crazy stuff, man. Giant green thing walking in the storm. It's Cthulhu. Oh, I see. Okay. Sorry, I was looking on Google. I wanted to see if I could find Or at least that's how I always interpreted it. That's fair, yeah. No, I can understand that. It was still kind of crazy. What's this one? I'm not gonna lie, I pooed when you asked if it was 9/11 related. Why? I just wanted to make sure. Why'd you poo? Make sure you change your underwear. You don't want skid marks. Because I wasn't ready for that. You should always be ready when it comes to me. You should always expect the You should always expect the unexpected when it comes to me. I am just that crazy. I don't know what to tell you. I am insane. I'm crazy. I'm insane. There is something in my brain. Wendy's nuts, got him. Wait, hold on. Oh, heck no, this is too long. Wendy's nuts, got him. This one's so long. Why are these all so long? So sleepy. Okay. What's this one? Is this long? Is it long? Is it long? Is it long? Kind of. A little bit. Why can't some of these be smaller? These are all actual, like, novels that people wrote. Alright, I'll do this one. This will be the last one. Alright. I like the costume, Skiddo. Thank you. I'll go back to my normal blue hair next week. Alright. This one is called the Wendy's drive-thru. I knew my life would be crap once I started working at Wendy's. I started working at Wendy's when I realized my mom had stopped wanting to pay for my college funds. Wendy's nuts. I needed to pay my rent, and the nearest work available was a local Wendy's. I ended up working there anyway, and I impressed the manager enough to have a suitable income for my situation. Finally, I had enough money to pay my rent and support myself. Things were good, but I was still looking for other jobs that related to my studies over at college. We had a small staff consisting of only 12 people. After about a year, I was granted the job of supervisor. One quiet night, we were getting ready to work all night. we were working all night because we had one of the new 24-hour open Wendy's systems. My shift was all the way from 10 o'clock to 8 a.m. in the morning. I thought it would be a slow, boring night with nothing more than me and 4 other people. The 4 people were an old man named Jim, and a few teenage girls. I was the supervisor for the night, and my boss decided to leave us. Most of the night, there were no customers to speak of, well, except for this one guy. He was pretty fat, and I guess that there were some people who wanted their chicken fixed at 12 at night. After 12, all of us just stood at our posts, sometimes talking, sometimes not. I just looked at the drive-thru camera most of the time, looking for something that caught my eye. I did notice a car coming in through the drive-thru entrance. "Gear up, guys," I told them. "There's a customer." The car was a yellowish 56 Chevy convertible. "And he's got a sweet car," I said to make things more interesting. I picked up the headset and spoke into the mic. "Hello, welcome to Wendy's. May I take your order?" A few seconds of silence. I heard whispering, or quiet speaking of some sort. It was a bit weird, and I asked again. "Sorry, sir. Can you repeat that order again?" After a few minutes of silence, I just regarded the whole situation as odd. I looked over to my coworkers and shrugged. Could tell that Jim was getting impatient. I asked again, "Could you give me that order again, please?" They were silent again. Before I could ask again, Jim took the headset from me. "Sir, could you please just..." He was cut off by something. By what? I don't know. The color faded away from his face immediately. He ripped off the headset and ran into the employee washroom, crying. I was shocked that such a senile old man could break so easily. One of the girls chased him, and I put on the headset and heard static. I saw the cord was cut. "Gosh darn it, Jim, you broke the headset!" I looked at the screens, and neither of them had the yellow convertible. 15 minutes later, one of the girls came back with Jim. He said he heard his mother's voice. I didn't know whether to yell at him for stop being so crazy or sympathize with him. I just told him to get back to work and that I'd take care of the drive-thru. The girls clearly looked worried and a bit scared. As a supervisor, I had to keep all of the staff under control and working. I told them to just get back to their posts and wait for me to give them any orders that came through. Earlier on, I had no idea as to what happened. I was thinking of ways that this could be possible. Were we being pranked? I thought, as I looked through the cameras once more. They had messed with us on the mic and sped right past the window? No, they couldn't have. I would have heard the engine right outside. I wasn't a skeptic in earlier parts of my life, but recently I stopped believing in such things. I didn't know whether I was losing touch with my religion or maybe my lack of belief in the supernatural. Needless to say, I had lesser amount of logic in my mind than before tonight. It was about an hour later that some weird things started going on. We were all a little tired, and we were all about to take mini shifts where we would go take quick naps. I looked down at the cameras once more and noticed a bit of fuzz going on. Tapped the screen lightly, and it seemed to fix it for a couple seconds. It started to get a bit more fuzzy than before after I tried to fix it again. A few more times of quote-unquote fixing it, I noticed something really peculiar going on with the right corner of the screen. There was some guy in a hoodie walking down the sidewalk that was just barely out of view. After the hoodie guy had passed, there was another guy just afterwards. "Hey guys, check this out," I said, pointing to the screen. Once I had said that and looked over at the camera, I felt he heard me somehow. Then he continued to walk, and then there was no more of the hoodie guy. Never mind. The screen started to clear up again. By that time, I had really started to get tired. I would have taken a nap, but for some reason there's a rule about the supervisor not taking naps, and knowing Jim, he'd rat me out in a second. So I went to the office that was in the back and just did some paperwork that needed to get taken care of. I just needed to fill out what was used in the night, how much we made. It was actually pretty simple stuff. While I was working on papers, I noticed this red piece of paper that was in the pile. I picked it out, read it, and it said, "The freezer." Of course I could understand it, but the writing was very sloppy, and it reminded me a bit of a cover of a Goosebumps book. I chuckled a bit and went to consult my coworkers. I asked them if they had left a piece of paper in the office, but all they said in return was, the office had been locked all day and we're too tired to pull any pranks. I just left it in the office and went back to check on the cameras. I got the cameras only to find them busted. All of the screens were cracked, and the headset was emitting this weird static noise. "Guys, who the crap did this?" I questioned in an extremely angry tone. "I thought I heard something," said one of the girls. "Well, what did you hear?" She seemed to have a higher IQ than the other girls, who just seemed to text on their phones half the day, so I was surprised to see that she didn't check the noise. I heard a bit of tapping and then a loud banging sound. It only lasted for a couple seconds, so I thought someone else was over there. "I thought you were over there," said one of the girls texting on her phone. Why their phones have so much power, I'll never understand. "Well, I wasn't," I said in a shaky voice. For the next few minutes, we stood there, not talking. It was kind of eerie, actually. It was all silent, and I could hear nothing but static, except the static of the headset. The headset, I thought, realizing the cord had been broken earlier. Ran over to the headset, checking to see if my theory was going anywhere. Sure enough, I was correct. The cord was completely disconnected, but it was still making noise. I felt my blood run cold, and the hairs on my neck stand up as I slowly put on the headset. All I heard was a disarray of static, and I didn't even know what to say. So I stammered out a weak, "Hello?" As soon as I spoke, the headset blared out a loud and disorientated, "The freezer." It was so loud that I ripped off the headset as soon as I heard it. After that, I told them not to go anywhere near the freezer. As the night went on, I tried to get the screens fixed, but I couldn't, so I just told the girls to watch the windows every once in a while. It started to get a little hot, which was strange since it was in the middle of October. All I knew, it was very cool during the night. I regarded it as just a change in temperature. The night went on silently and eerily. I made some hourly rounds, and it was nearly 4 in the morning when I noticed one of the girls had left. "What happened?" I asked Jim, since he knows a lot about what's happening more than me. "How am I supposed to know?" he snapped back, snarling a bit as he did so. "Aren't you supposed to keep track of them? I ain't no babysitter. I'm just doing my job." He was right. This could badly affect my performance and ruin the stable relationship I have with my manager. I looked in the back and saw that her stuff was gone. Where could she have gone? I thought as I opened her locker. Her phone was still here, so she couldn't have gone far. I went over to the screens and tried to fix them again, so to see if I could make some more progress. About an hour later, I finally fixed the screens. By this time, I was sweating like a dog in the desert. It was so hot that the air was almost like warm blankets. I looked at the screens, and all of them were this dark shade of red. "Oh crap," I said to myself as I saw the body of a teenage girl in the bottom left corner of the camera's view. I ran to the window and tried to open it. It wouldn't budge. In fact, none of the windows would open. I ran to the back door and tried to open it. I have to get out of here, I thought, as I tried to bust the door open. It would not open no matter how hard I tried. By now, I was feeling weak, and I had noticed that no one else was around except for me. I looked out the drive-thru window at an angle so I could see exactly what happened. It looked like someone had ran her over with a tractor. Blood was everywhere, and it looked like there were some of her entails were splattered along the wall. I threw up at the sight. I ran to the front of the restaurant and tried to exit through the glass doors that led inside. I looked up for something to break open the windows. I wanted to break out of here so badly, but at the same time, I wanted to be cold. I was getting so tired of the blistering heat. I went over behind the counter and disconnected the cash register. I threw it at the glass, but the glass seemed to reflect it back to me. It hit me directly in the knee. I heard a loud crunch coming from my knee, and my leg went limp. My God. I fell to the ground and couldn't get back up. I heard something shaking and making a hissing noise behind me. It was the grill. It was hissing, and the grease traps were smoking. The grill suddenly burst into flames, which made the heat unbearable. I crawled over to the steel door of the freezer. It felt so cold against my head. It felt so nice. I flicked the handle with my hand, then I pushed the door open to escape into the cold. I crawled inside and saw the lights flicker on, as if by magic. They were waiting for me there. Finally, I met with my coworkers in the nice cold. They were just hanging around on the meat racks. I crawled deeper in and let the nice cold sweep me off the ground into a steely cold of the meat rack. I'm assuming he died. Rest in pieces. They all died. They died in the freezer. Rest in pieces. The meat rack taketh. The Lord giveth, the meat wrath taketh away. That's how Wendy's meat is fresh and never frozen. Heck yeah. That's right. That's how it be. That's how it be, chat. That's how it be. scariest ingredient was the employees. So true. So true. Alright, well, that was our creepypasta reading. I hope you guys enjoyed. Where's my chocolate frosties? The machine's broken. I know these are fake, so why am I getting freaked out so much over these? It means that they did good writing. So, I mean, the people that wrote the stories obviously did a good job if it's freaking you out. The pasta was quite creepy. Yes, it was. My throat is sore now from talking for 3 hours straight. Well, 2.5 hours. Can I have a large order of 55 burgers, 55 fries, 55 shakes? Please let me go. I'm doing something. There's creepy in my pasta. Yeah. Are you guys doing anything fun for Halloween? Are you guys going trick-or-treating? Or are going to like any Halloween parties? Are you guys doing anything fun? You're working? That's not fun. Fixing a deck. I asked if you're doing anything fun. Working is not fun. That does not count. I'm also working. But I get to leave early tomorrow because I'm going away for the weekend. Woo! Exciting. I'm going to crawl under a house after work. That's fun. Alright, well, if you say so. I would love to maybe not... You go to a haunted park or house. Nah, I'm good with that. I will be working, though I did get a Yoda onesie to dress up in. Heck yeah! Not gonna lie, because it was Halloween, I was like half thinking of like just wearing a onesie around while I'm traveling, but I was like, I don't know about that. I was like, I don't know if I would do that. That doesn't really seem like me. Anywhere fun, Skiddo? I'm just going a couple states over. Just to, have a weekend away. That's all. Kind of like a, mind refresher type deal. Hope you have a fun trip, Skiddo. Thank you. I'll be back, Sunday afternoon. And it's not a long trip. So I'll be back to streaming probably what day is today? Thursday? Probably Tuesday. Yeah. Probably Tuesday. I'll go back to streaming. I'm doing something fun. I'm eating all my neck-juice candies. Heck yeah! Get all the good candies. Woo! I don't work, but I won't be doing anything special. Watch Halloween movies. I watched The Black Phone the other day. I'm pretty sure I said that on stream. Rebby got me to watch The Black Phone. It was pretty good. I didn't hate it. actually didn't mind it. I might be going to an arcade tomorrow. We'll see. Depends. Exciting. I heard Good Boy is pretty good. Oh. Is that a horror movie? Arcade, yeah. If I can't handle you reading scary stories, do you think I'd handle Halloween movies very well? I mean... That's fair. That's fair, Rain. That's fair. Any claw machines? Yeah, there are. There are claw machines. Actually, Yeah. They do have claw machines. Last time I was there, they had some Hololive stuffies. So they may have more, I don't know. But yeah. Kind of hoping maybe I'll find some Uma stuff, but it's very unlikely. We were doing trunk or treat with Messias at the community event center. So cute! Guys, Messias has the cutest outfit. It's so adorable. I love Messias's little outfit. It's so cute. He's going as a fire truck. Yeah, it's so cute. It's adorable. I'm special. I get to see. But yeah, it's adorable. And Mess made it himself. Yeah. It looks so good. He made it from scratch. I did actually show Dino Dad. Dino Dad has seen it. It's so cute. It's adorable. You did a really good job with it, Mess. It looks awesome. Yeah. Yeah, very cute. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you know what I can wear tomorrow? I can wear my Halloween shirt for a Holo Live. I have the hoodie and the t-shirt. So I could wear that tomorrow. It's supposed to be cold, I think. So that would actually work out. I could pair it with my long sleeve shirt. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. His babysitter's going as a Dalmatian because of it. That's so cute! I love that. I used to dress up as a Dalmatian a lot for Halloween when I was younger. I love 101 Dalmatians so much. Favorite Disney movie. Has been my favorite Disney movie for a very long time. Yeah. Yeah. What's everyone's wildest Halloween costume? I don't think I've had a wildest birthday costume. Dang it, Ginger! I read your comment. I said birthday costume. Gosh darn it. I don't think I've had a crazy Halloween costume. I think Dino Dad would have to answer that because I'm not entirely sure. I remember being a Dalmatian. I remember being a cheerleader. I remember being a hockey player. I don't know. A birthday suit. What was the question? What everyone's wildest Halloween costumes were. And I said that I don't actually remember a lot of my Halloween costumes. So I was like, Dino Dad would probably be the one to ask because I only remember like a couple of them. I don't think I had a wild Halloween costume. I was never really into dressing up for Halloween, so I don't have any crazy ones to speak of. That's fair. Watch her. I could wear the cosplay I have, but I don't have a reason to wear it anyway. True! Imagine if I wore my cosplay while I was traveling. How crazy would that be? Man. Dress up as Gura or Karone. I dressed as Kirito once. Absolute Chad. You're an absolute Chad, Ginger, for that. I remember the Dalmatian. Yeah. I know I dressed up as a Dalmatian. And I know I dressed up as a cheerleader and as a hockey player. But I don't remember what else. I don't remember what else I've done. Did I dress up as a Teletubby? I wouldn't put it past me. I probably did. I don't remember. I wore my Civil War uniform for Halloween a few times. Both USA and CSA uniforms in different years. Heck yeah. Good job, Rain. I think so, but I can't say 100%. That's fair. Obi-Wan Kenobi and the Joker were probably some of my more interesting ones. Why so serious? I think all of my Halloween costumes were tame unless you count Ninja Pikachu as wild. Bro. Ninja Pikachu. Well, at least you weren't Detective Pikachu. You got that going for you. Yeah, I never went as anything crazy. I've never really been invited to Halloween parties, so I've never gotten to dress up for parties or I just never really had any interest in dressing crazily. Like I more so just wanted to dress up how I wanted to dress up, and I had fun doing it. So it was like, I don't know. I didn't do anything crazy. I was never one to like really dress up crazily like that, like, you know, like the sexy nurse or whatever. Like, that just wasn't me. When I was like 5 or 6, my neighbor and I went as Ash and Pikachu. I was Ash and she was Pikachu. That's so cute. Never actually had trick-or-treat. I've been to a Halloween party. Next year, Dynamites need to hold a Halloween party so Skiddo can be invited to one. Also, if I didn't say hi, RSA, I'm gonna say it now. Hi. Yeah, I've never been invited to a Halloween party. Yeah. It's okay though. I mean, Halloween's not really my thing. Christmas is more my thing. I've never been invited to a Christmas party either, but that's okay. It's fine. I dressed as a Star Trek TNG captain once, but it wasn't for Halloween. I was like 6 at the time. Don't remember much. Halloween party at the Waffle House. Ayo. Bet. I once wore the Darth Vader chest piece and shorts and just said I was Anakin in the process of being turned into Vader. That's so genius, actually, because like you don't really have to do much with it. You're just in the process. I mean, that's actually genius. We'll have all the holiday parties. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Let's go. Holiday parties for the win. Okay, you know what would low-key be kind of fun? I don't know how it would even possibly be, like, I don't know how it would possibly happen, but you know what would be so cool is if we did a secret Santa within the community. Like I said, I have no idea how that would work, but that just sounds so fun. Like, buying each other like little gifts. Like, it didn't have to be anything crazy. Yeah, digital gifts is actually a good idea. It would be something small, like something that like isn't ridiculously priced, but I feel like that would be super fun. That would be like a blast. I've done this before. Wait, so it is possible? Wait. Oh my gosh. Digital gifts. You could buy someone a game. You could draw them something. You could make a video, sing them a song. Oh my gosh, wait. Okay, wait. I do actually really like this idea. This is really cute. We should do an interest form. Mess, we will talk about this. We will talk about this. We'll make it happen. Yeah. Yes, thank you, Mess. Thank you, thank you. Oh my gosh, I love it. I'm so excited. I'll have Mess be the lead because he knows how to do this stuff much more than I do. Yay! Yay! We can have a little Discord party. Oh my gosh, I love it. We can watch Christmas movies and we can trade gifts and I'm so happy. I'm so happy! Yay! Skiddo, you could be Santa. Ooh, yeah! Oh my gosh, that would be so fun. I would love that. I would love that so much. Show off the gifts to DM to people. I could do that. I could do that. I could do that. Santa Skiddo. Santa Skiddo. Just slip a dino under the tree for me. I've been a really good dude. Say Santa Skiddo. And hurry down the chimney tonight. Ow. Bro, it's not even Halloween yet. I'm already so excited for Christmas. Ow. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I have a feeling this is going to be a good year for Christmas. Oh, I'm so excited. You guys got me all excited. Stop trying to release Mariah. That's not even Mariah Carey. What do you mean? That's not even Mariah Carey. Bruh. Okay. I have a long day tomorrow, so I am probably gonna call it here and try and get some sleepies. I was singing Christmas songs, you evoke her. That just sounds like a you problem. I don't really know what to tell you. That just sounds like a you problem, man. Yeah. I'm gifting a whole season of anime someone is obligated to watch. Love it. We'll leave a plate of Dino Nuggies and Pop-Tarts for you. Heck yeah. I had Christmas songs in my head a few weeks ago. Woo! Skiddo needs to release her own cover album. I want to. I want to release my own cover album. I feel like cover albums are a pain in the butt, though. Alright, chat. Time to go to sleep. Thank you guys so much for coming by and hanging out with me. If any of you are doing anything this weekend for Halloween, I hope you stay very safe and have a great time. I hope you get all the treats and no tricks. And I hope that everything goes well for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the creepypasta reading. Hopefully it wasn't too boring. Yeah. I will be back on Tuesday, so I'm going on a mini break. Take care, everybody. I'll probably be in the Discord here and there just to say hello and to check in. Yeah, it's going to be a fun time. When I can't sleep tonight, I'll remember this. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to give you nightmares. I'm sorry, Ray. Alright, guys. Have a good night. I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Happy Halloween. Happy Halloweeny.